Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Heroes CCL presented by Wisdom. My name's Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing for another awesome Best of 5 series. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are not done just yet. I saw a few of you asking in chat, is there more games? Absolutely, there's more games. We're getting ready for another awesome Best of 5. We just watched Wildheart lose to Simplicity in a 3-1 fashion. Simplicity looking dominant today in the game so far, and I just got, before we start getting into rosters and all that kind of stuff, Grubby, Justin, I want to ask both of you, where's your excitement? Because I asked you at the start of the stream, I want to kind of gauge where both of you are at, starting with Grubby.
Yeah, I think Simplicity played really, really well. Wildheart, a little bit less well than I had been led to anticipate after week 1. They've also had that awkward break last weekend, so they haven't had as much recent practice. Simplicity really slayed. They once again are looking to move towards that top favorite part in the league. I am super excited to see how Lauber is going to be doing from Canada on a slightly more favorable ping here for Storm Esports coming into 30k Esports. So are we going to see like epic Lauber plays, better skill shots, better timings, great engage, narrow escapes? Are we going to see and feel that difference? Because this is a first where people are actually uprooting their life, especially for CCL, just to have a better ping. Or so I have heard from myself last week. Anyway, it's cool. It's the first time that we see someone in a different continent than before.
Yeah, same question to you, Justin. How you feeling getting into this best of 5 series between these two teams?
Yeah, I'm excited. The series earlier was a lot of fun. It didn't go quite the distance, but it took about as long as a reverse sweep could have taken, with that Volskaya game lasting over 33 minutes. I really expected a little bit more from Wildheart, but I'm excited to see Simplicity coming out so strong, even without Pure like they had last week. Playing without him, playing with Masquerade, they looked just as good, if not even stronger, up against Wildheart, so that's good to see. And in this next match, it's going to be exciting to see Storm after we didn't get to see them last week. Yep. And like Grubby mentioned, we have Lauber with the ping, the new ping, which we'll see if that plays a role in this. And I mean, 30k, I would consider 30k to be a first place contending team, and Storm was the second place team last season, so this is no small match. Even though Storm is down in the standings, I don't think that necessarily reflects how good they could be. So it'll be interesting to see. And if Storm does manage to beat 30k today, then Simplicity gets to be the lone team in first place, so this match is very important for the standings for all the teams.
Be able to look at those standings at the end of the day, and right now we can actually take a look at the rosters. We've talked a lot about Lauber on the side of Storm Esports, Grubby, but who else could we potentially be seeing on this Storm Esports crew?
Well, it's still a fairly new entree for Rutso into the CCL, as he had previously chosen not to play, but here he is happily playing in Season 3. He's going to be a great DPS that Storm is bringing forward. And if you guys are long-term viewers of the CCL, you will have seen Dequaza and his prowess on the offlane role. BBJ's healing, especially on that Brightwing, but also on Stukov and many others. And IB Things really impressed me 2 weekends ago.
IB Tings is definitely impressed, but when we look at the 30k roster, Justin, expectations, excitement from this crew.
We've got Bad Benny playing the tank. He's been around for quite some time, so we'll see how he does on his new roster here on 30k. We've got Dino playing the range, who completely exceeded all expectations last week. Dino looked like he might be the best range in the league. Haswabs, who we all know, Liam playing the offlane, and then Yasu playing the support. 30k looks like a really and Nagram, of course, might come in. Who knows? 30k has a very, very strong roster all around. Almost every single player on the roster, I would say, is contending for a potential best in slot in their role. So stacked rosters on both sides.
Yeah, I actually got to check out a few Heroes Lounge matches this past week, and Bad Benny plays on one of those teams. I watched Bad Benny finish Vala, Creed of the Hunter. I believe the map ended at 12 minutes, and I believe Creed of the Hunter full. Like, all the 250 stacks was done around like 10 minutes into the game. Wow. So, yeah, Bad Benny's got a pretty good Vala in his repertoire, but he probably is going to be tanking today. But let's not talk about Heroes just yet. Let's talk about where we're going to head into for our first map of the day, because I got that information for you all at home, and if you're wondering how we got to Towers of Doom, chosen by 30k, you're in luck. I got all the information right here. Storm Esports opted for first pick priority as they won the coin flip, banning out Dragonshire. 30k getting rid of Volskaya Foundry. Grubby, Justin, we will not have a 33-minute Volskaya Foundry map. We could have a 33-minute Tomb map, though. Tomb is one of those maps that definitely can go quite long, but we're not getting ready for Tomb. We're getting ready for my favorite map to watch in a competitive sense as well as in HeroesCCL, and it's going to be Towers of Doom. I'm ready to find out what's going to happen with these drafts. So we're getting into this draft. It's two different teams, or two newer teams. And, we could sit here and just elaborate and kind of theory craft what they could be throwing out. But I want to actually go ahead and ask you, Justin, we have a lot of concepts for Heroes of Storm. Map control. We've talked a lot about map control, and I feel like Towers of Doom is a great example of map control. So how would you define this term on this map as we're kind of getting through some bans?
So I'm assuming it mostly just means sort of each map has a different objective, and the way that you sort of play the map is different on each map. So for example, on Infernal Shrines, you'd be sort of just playing for the objective, whereas on Towers of Doom, it's much more of a macro-based map where there's a lot more. You have the temples that spawn on, or the towers, I suppose, that spawn in across the map, so you need to be able to sort of decide whether you want to play towards top side or bot side, and then if you want to play heavily on one side or if you want to play sort of balanced. You can't really, it kind of just is like the way that you prioritize where you send the bulk of your heroes, whether you're playing to the top side of the map or the bot side of the map, which on Towers of Doom typically you're playing to the bot side of the map because that's where both teams have sapper camps, so it's easiest to get an advantage in the bottom side, whereas top only has one. So that's a breakdown of what that is.
There you go. No, it's absolutely it's a concept we talk about a lot. So it helps to define these things for some of our newer players, or maybe even some viewers who are not fully invested in playing Heroes of Storm, but they enjoy watching the esport. I watch tons of esports that I don't even play. It's just I like the competitive nature of things. But let's talk about what's happening here, Grubby, because we've had a couple bans, we've had a couple picks so far.
Really high priority on Tychus for 30k, as always. They like putting Hazu ups on there and having another win condition where every time on cooldown they like to turn on the Odin and just get some structural damage. I think they like Tychus more than anyone else in the league. This preference is showing through with the very expected Stukov first pick, but maybe not as much expected Tychus first pick. As I do feel that Tychus has a few unfavorable minigun matchups into certain tanks. Specifically Varian and Garrosh. Varian having parry, being able to punish him for his short range, and same thing with Garrosh. No parry, but can punish a short range assassin. And therefore, that is a smart pick by Lauer and Storm Esports, but then they're not really playing off of minigun only. Like I said, the 30k, they like to play off of that Odin structural damage.
It is strong so far, but I also got to get Justin's thoughts on what's happened here, because I asked you a lot about, MOBA concepts, but let's talk about what's the concept of these drafts right now, Justin. It's looking like we've got some cool bans already.
Yeah, I really like what 30k has done. They banned the Brightwing, and it's sort of a gamble because the enemy team could first pick the Stukov, but in that case they'd be trading Stukov for Dahaka, and in this case Storm goes for Dahaka first pick, which means that between the Brightwing and the Dahaka, or the Brightwing and the Stukov rather, 30k gets that Stukov in exchange for it, and then they ban the Anduin, which has seemed like the third best support. So I really like that they're putting BBJ on a support that he's not going to be as comfortable on. He could go into Monk, that's something that BBJ is more known for, but Monk in the current meta is a little bit difficult, especially into things like Stukov, and getting Blaze on the 3-4 here with Diablo and having the Tychus for yourself, it's going to be hard for Storm to draft something that can actually punish the front line on the side of 30k. With them already having the Tychus, Fala, and Lunara not being options, Sylvanas does okay, but we'll see what they pick, and they go for the Hanzo and a Malfurion. So that means that Storm Esports is very risky for Storm Esports with the Malfurion. It's hard to save anyone from any potential blowups on the side of 30k.
Is this a potential Medivh, Justin, for the side of 30k? I feel like it would work with their comp. It's a hypercarry Tychus, but it's Diablo Medivh, and it was really strong yesterday. Oh, okay. I like this too. I like Dino's Li Ming as well.
It was great on Li Ming before, and I like bringing in another damage type that is a bit more bursty than Medivh. Don't really need the protection when you've got Bunker already and double tank. I think Li Ming can have a really good matchup into Hanzo. Can also follow Sylvanas's spirit basically and aim some spells there. think it's a great pick, and I personally am liking 30K's draft a little bit more here.
I'm struggling to really kind of choose a side on this one, so I'm going to let Justin elaborate further so that way I can definitely make my own decision on this one. But Justin, what do you think about the drafts and who could potentially win Towers of Doom?
Yeah, so I think Storm has a pretty straightforward draft where they're looking to one-shot the enemy frontline, but 30K has drafted Blaze and Diablo, which are very, very tanky, very, very hard members to actually one-shot for the side of Storm Esports. So I think that 30K's comp is a little bit better overall. I think it's a little bit more well-rounded. I think that it's very one-dimensional what Storm Esports is trying to do. And while 30K doesn't have a very straightforward way to save them from a one-shot, they do just have such tanky frontline members that I think that they're going to be able to create space and not get one-shot. And also Dino on Li Ming, very, very scary. So I'm expecting him to pop off this game.
Alrighty, well, Justin, thank you for the breakdown analysis as we are loaded into our first map and our second best of 5 of the day. And on the left-hand side, we are looking at Storm Esports. Dahaka to be played by Dequaza. Rutso will be on the Hanzo. Lauber playing the Varian. Ibitings on the Sylvanas. And BBJ will play the Malfurion. Over in the red, we're looking at 30K. We got Hazuabs on the Tychus, Li Ming to be played by Dino, Stukov played by Yasu, Liam on the Blaze, and Bad Benny on this Diablo. I have written down a Storm Esports win on this one, Grubby. I'm feeling the Varian with the Sylvanas potential mind control, BBJ's roots. And we're gonna pop out of the game for just a hot second because we got to look at Springy. Yeah, Springy just dealing is gonna be.
It just dealt 9,000 damage to my heart.
But Springy was getting some analysis, some breakdowns for adjusting as well. It's a duo over there. Just Springy feeds information into his ears. But realistically, I think the 10's could be explosive for Storm Esports. I think they can be really strong here. I might be eating my words a little soon because Hazuab sitting in the bush has the minigun, the grenade right out of the burrow, and first blood will be over to the side of 30K. Can I change my option here, Grubby?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Can I now with 2 deaths?
No, double nope.
Okay, all right.
No, it wasn't a great coordination by 30K.
Seriously, yes, yeah.
Jeez. Like Stukov hit a perfect combo on the Haka and then into the jet propulsion for the permanent silence. He straggled out of it, the Haka, and then Tychus was minigunning all throughout and it was easy to finish him off. Great gank setup there on the Haka, who thought he was just taking a walk in the park, but he wasn't.
And that does actually hinder a little bit of his stacking at level 1 on that enhanced agility. There's a root from Malfurion, a double sleep comes through because the Emerald Dreams. Hanzo did use the agility to get away. Lauber comes in with the charge, a little damage onto Dino. He's going to get the regeneration globe, and I'm just skimming through talents. No, they didn't go domination at 1, so no regeneration globe value for him.
So, it's a bit hard still before Varian gets his level 4. He doesn't have any big threat yet. Does have a bit of a parry there. He's charging Diablo. Scanner there misses for Rutso. On Diablo was a hard angle. So far, Storm just trying to hold on. They're falling pretty moderately behind already.
When it comes to experience, absolutely. We're seeing a solid level lead, and I can actually look really quickly. What's that lead coming from? Minion experience, slightly behind on the side of 30K. Passive is equal, structures a little bit to 30K. Storm Esports is just, they're just controlling with Mercenaries and Heroes, but Grubby, I believe we got that first blood to showcase everyone. You can break it down on as to how well this worked.
So let's see, Daka's going top. He doesn't see anyone on the map. So this was always an option. He just didn't think it was going to be that well coordinated. And he was so near his healer and tank in Varian and Malf that he figured strong together. But there was just a small disconnect in his positioning. He was just a bit in front. Didn't expect quite that much coordination and firepower. And of course, Malf is not a burst protector, nor is Varian a full tank yet pre-level 4. So how would he have played around that? Well, one thing you can do, not saying he could have known that, but one thing you can do is you walk past the bush and then you just randomly take a step back like you're doing a dance, and a 1 and a 2 forward and then 1 back, like randomly. And any skill shots that would have been aimed for you can miss. That is a way to like bush check, quote unquote, without using a skill shot into it. Maybe that could have been something that he could have done.
I believe I've heard actually the concept of that on like Into the Nexus, a really nice podcast with Kyle Ferguson actually, who does the mid-show interviews. But they've actually talked about the concept of wiggling. Like you essentially you're wiggling around. You're not doing these very straight lines. You're kind of you're not walking in a straight line. Essentially, you're being a little bit difficult to land skilled shots on. And Blaze will go down, so we will see that first blood for the side of Storm Esports. But 30K respond with a Malfurion kill. And this is going to be Storm Esports with the double channel. And this Yasu is looking for a potential channel of his own, but it's going to be delayed out by one Sonic Arrow. A little greedy from Dahaka to try and delay out that Blaze for so very long. And then Blaze just kind of came back and responded to it. So unfortunate for the side of Storm Esports. Or excuse me, for 30K. Sorry, flipping that in my head.
For 30K, yeah. Like for Blaze to try and stall out that long, and then it became a 1v2 against Sylvanas and Dahaka. It was well played and prioritized by Storm. They got the double top cap off of it because they got that kill on the Blaze.
I don't know why I just flipped it in my head completely, but that doesn't matter because we have scatter arrows
It's all
finished
good. We know
out
what you're
by...
talking about.
Oh, no one? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, we know what I said. It's all good. We know what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry. I completely misheard you. All right, maybe I have to turn up the volume of my headphones because it is going to be pressure through the bottom lane for 30K, but they don't walk up these sappers any further. It's a rotation into mid, maybe to gank the Dahaka, but he's playing safe in front of the front gate.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted that. If he took even one step too far forward, Bad Bunny would have smashed him good into the wall. But he was very, very safe. So here is a taunt potential. But note that Lava is not using taunt on Diablo. He wants to pretend to go for Diablo, force pressure, force other people to step up. And he's going to use it on somebody else. But then when they realized the numbers that Diablo had behind him, Storm let the whole thing go, the whole idea go. And I think that was really good. For this game, I have the idea to jump into comms a little earlier than usual. What do you think?
Sure, where do you want to go?
Well, let's go into 30K.
In we go.
I want them to free kill.
I'm trying to.
Varian.
I'm coming. I'm not there. I stun.
Yeah,
He can't move.
I cannot.
It's bad.
I was on
Jackass mid.
bottom already. Just get 10.
I'm catching mid. Wait, he's dugging?
He dug. We can't. Get out.
Quick wood.
He whiffed.
Dick.
Yeah,
We get
I'm
wave.
playing for mid.
Yes,
Also
no.
play.
Yes.
Jag kan
I have to tap. I'm gonna tap. I can't.
Come.
Okay, I'm trying. I don't know, but
I'm on
Sorry,
Varian.
Can I tap?
I
Oh, yeah,
can
I wanna
for
tap
you.
a
Blaze-
I get
Blaze on
mid
mid, I
for
think.
10. Stall with Blaze, the side that they split off.
I can't. I mean, I'm trying,
okay.
but
Just kill Varian here.
yeah, hit him. Very. One shot. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Perfect. We win.
Run
10.
it.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything?
Ah, okay, we don't.
I'm looking still.
We got them in.
They're out. It's fine. Can we push maybe a little bit?
I can push Hanzo in, maybe.
Yeah,
No?
I go now.
Now? Fucked up.
No.
It's okay.
I think we just get our camp out. It's up in 5. I'm gonna go soak. We can push them in. Maybe we even Odin with it. Could be good. Depends, but it could be
The
good.
hacker has no dick for another half a minute.
He might arrow us here.
Yeah,
I'll be there. Coming.
And he's
Yeah,
low.
alright.
I guess Benny, do you have tap Benny or no?
Yes, I do.
We just push bottom, S5. Feel like it's pretty good.
Sure.
Can you Baron maybe
I
quite
try to
slow?
put it in. I'm not there yet, but
Yeah, wait, and then they found him.
They got vision of me.
Grubby, I could have just sat in those comms for the rest of the game. I was having a blast listening to how 30K was getting along.
Yeah, very good. I think good energy levels, good communication. It just sounded good. I'm confident in 30K's ability, and we'll catch up with Storm later and see how they're getting on. But 30K sounding very good. There's a big arrow on Dino. He's real far forward, but he lives.
Dahaka's in the backline right now. Bad Benny very low. Pops the Apocalypse. Will get hit with the drag from the Dahaka, and that's Soul's reset on Bad Benny. BBJ and friends want to rush in, and Hazuabs is the next target. That's a really good 1-2 punch from the Storm Esports roster, and Alterface spawns in 20-some seconds. Hazuab's about to respawn in 16. This could just be a free channel to Storm Esports. I don't know if Diablo wants to step in, or if Blaze will be able to do anything here.
Yeah, not sure what exactly went wrong there. That was absolutely a panic apocalypse where it's like, well, I think I'm gonna die, so I'm just gonna press it to make people move a bit. Definitely not an engage where 30K had agency. There's a nice taunt to disrupt Stukov. Stukov does still have his full combo available. And Tychus is back, so the window was not utilized by Storm. Here's an Odin. They're going to try to use Odin to provide enough pressure to zone out people as Blaze maybe captures the point.
Blaze going for the channel. We've seen this tactic before from the side of 30k, utilizing Odin as a control tool. Not really looking to win the team fight with this, just more or less looking to just zone back the enemy team. There is going to be a bit of an engage from Bad Benny, but nothing will yield any sort of kill. Commandeer Odin has expired. Flailing Swipe used by the Stukov. Hanzo rips a massive arrow into the enemy side. 4 seconds on the taunt from Varian as Bad Benny looks to shadow charge into the backline. Ivy Ting's trying to back away, has the short distance haunting wave. The overkill from Hazuabs is a lot, but it's not enough. And Blaze is the one to actually go down. Lauber comes in with another charge. 7 seconds on a taunt. It's not necessary. BBJ is the one to set up another kill. Hanzo able to get the last little bit of damage. And it's Storm Esports who come out on top of this engagement with a talent tier advantage for the next half level. And 4 more shots into the side of 30k. Storm Esports, 32, 30k sitting at 24.
Very, very good save there by BBJ on his Sylvanas Ivy Tings, getting the Tranquility out, that bonus armor, and hitting some crucial Moonfires as well, as 30k was so absorbed with that Sylvana skill that Blaze was left out by himself.
Blaze left out. Still 13 talent tier advantage, and not going to try and push in the camp that was stolen away. Storm Esports, I think they're just going to grab the free experience and then look to really get gains from this Sapper camp on the left-hand side. I'm just looking at experience breakdown to see where this lead is coming from. Rutso, you are Omega Split, and Diablo finds the last auto attack. That experience gap closing up a little bit with that kill, yielding...
Yeah.
It was like 800 to 1,000 experience from that kill. We went from like a 4,000 experience gap to like 2-ish thousand, maybe 3,000 experience gap from just that one kill. Big gains late game.
Really big gap closer, and you know, hey, by the way, these forts, they just give a chunk of XP, no passive generation, right?
I believe, yeah, because Towers of... It's, oh man, I always forget this. Like, Towers of Doom still has like the old XP mechanic is what people in my chat always get excited about. They're like, that's why it's my favorite map. I'm like, I like it because it's really fun to rotate around and stuff like that. But apparently the experience,
there was no tooltip that said passive XP and catapults. Obviously, there's no catapult, so maybe no passive XP as well. I'm actually gonna look at the passive XP right now.
Yeah, it's equal between both sides, but the structural experience is the deficit. So yeah, there is no passive gains. But an objective phase is here, Grubby. What's gonna happen at single altar bottom lane?
Okay, let's take a look at this as Rutso all the way on the left. He's got his arrow with a big mind control drag on Diablo. Bad Ben is just getting bullied here. He does get in the bunker. He still has Apocalypse, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's got Apocalypse. So is he going to actually ever use that? Now it's... Oh my god,
Dino, chill!
Just popping off, bro!
Dino, chill! Holy crap!
Wow, without Apocalypse, he's like, well, if my tank isn't going to engage, then I certainly will.
I mean, a solid quadra kill for this 30k roster, and I was making a note as well about that quad kill
by Bad Benny.
I was like, why did Bad Benny stop? And then I looked in mid lane and saw Dino and Liam pushing in, and yeah, extra shots to equalize on the map, and this is going to be some decent damage coming into the Storm Esports core. We're going to be looking at 26 to 24, a little bit of parity found on the map with some waves being forced in by Hazuab's trying to force the missed experience, but IB Tings is here to pick it up. And let's go ahead and take a look at the 4 kills that we just saw, Grubby. And can you break down how Dino was able just to dominate?
I'm just happy to see it again, because we got Diablo. He's getting hurt big time here, right? Look at everything that Storm is using on that. They use a lot of abilities. Blaze comes in with the very crucial peel and bunker, and now they're starting to try and run away. Diablo not a factor anymore. Liam coming in from the side there. That's a kill. That's basically double kill from a little bit of Odin Fire, mostly Li Ming. It's going too fast to really see. It wasn't CC set up. It was just running after them and great Li Ming shots. I think Dino carried that fight. With Tychus, you right-click. But with Li Ming, you gotta hit it all. And here's a 6 Sapper attack.
A bunch of sappers sitting in bottom lane. Sylvanas procs her black arrows. Oh my god, Dino, chill! Almost one-shotting IB Tings, and Flailing Swipes won't be able to do anything here All sappers defended through the bottom lane. Our next objective phase will be triple. We had mid lane already converted, 30k holding this bottom lane. I brought up the concept, Grubby, of map control because this map I feel like is very, very good at showcasing this, and we're seeing it right here. That's why I asked Justin to break it down, and he was talking about the bottom lane control. This is the biggest factor on Towers of Doom, is controlling this bottom lane. Not only can you feed in the sappers, steal away the enemy team sappers as well and feed them through bottom lane, but you also have control over bottom lane objective. It makes the rotation into this bottom lane objective and mid objective area a lot more difficult because it's telegraphed. If bottom is controlled in favor of 30k, Storm Esports has to go vertically through the map to be able to get to this, so it's a little bit more of a telegraphed rotation as the top left and right are going to be traded. But here's the difference. Dahaka has the brush talk. There's an arrow from Hanzo, narrowly missing a few enemy members. We do have big damage in from Li Ming, or at least attempted, as Dino blinks forward. Yasu gets a scatter to the face. Rutso trying to put pressure onto this Stukov, but while all that's happening, Lobbers on the left-hand side going down to the Tychus. Dequaza trying to meander his way through the bush to get the speed buff from his enhanced agility. Rutso on the wrong side of the map. It's another double kill to the side of 30k, who are just cleaning up this map number 1, Towers of Doom. They did not come to play. They came to win on the side of 30k.
This is insane. Li Ming has the highest hero damage on the side of 30k. Normally you would expect Li Ming to be a finisher and to have Tychus have more damage, but he's 43k. Hanzo has the most, of course, on the left side, but a lot of that is poke that ends up getting healed out. Dino is just doing fantastic again for his team. And 30k is 11-5 in takedowns, 20-17 in shots. And they're going to be 5 versus 3 at this point. This was supposed to be the consolation prize for Storm. They took a big risk coming here, and they shall pay for it dearly.
It's like the time I went to the fair with my older brother, and my mom was just like, let him win a game. And every game, I was close to winning, and then my brother just swooped in and won every single game. It felt like that. It's like, oh, you know, you get a little consolation prize, something. No, I'm good. But this is a boss that will be grabbed by 30k and more damage. What I like about this as well is that 30k, there's no feathering of the gas pedal here. It's all gas always, and they're just pushing pressure into Storm Esports. It's relentless, to put it simply.
It definitely is. 30k moves to the top lane. We can look at that one more time, actually, as you've got Storm Esports. They're like, okay, we gotta make ourselves scarce and go for the top sappers, probably. And it makes sense. Probably 30k will take their own sappers in the bottom right. Look at the minimap. Bottom left, yellow sappers. It's what you would expect. With the second one becoming available, that's how to play it if you're a gentleman. 30k didn't want to be gentlemen. They wanted to be axe-murderers. Yeah, savages. So there they are, taking their Viking longboat to the top of the map and doing the unexpected, going for that consolation prize punish. I love it. They're definitely vibing. The momentum. And now, let's see how they play this phase out. Again, map control, they've got the sappers pushing in, but the Haka forced to deal with it. So Storm would be happy to just go 1-for-1. And 30k, they don't want to let that happen. They're going to push in hard. Asuop's already capped, and he may even turn on Big Red Button to try and get some poke here. While at the same time, I would like him to hybrid into both poking away the altar while pushing mid-fort. Now, mid-fort isn't super valuable, so they're not going to do it that way. They're like, hey, maybe you still fear us in the top? Maybe we can get the Haka?
Nah, the fishing won't work out. The bait, the trap will not work out. Dequaza reading the rotation a little too well there. I kind of wish that 30k did try and step in. I know that it was even talent tiers. I did check. Dahaka did have brush stock off a cooldown, so maybe it's just 30k being a little bit more respectful than I am, as that's a mind control Call of the Dark Lady as well. So a very short cooldown to go fishing. I mean, it's I've used the term a lot, but I mean, literally, Sylvanas is going fishing for potential kills with the mind controls. It's just now off a cooldown. I wouldn't be surprised to see IB Tings going for another attempt pull.
I can always try, as long as it doesn't turn against you and has all hell break out. That's a fair one, you know, skill shot checking the bush there. A little bit of a taunt on Diablo. It's a short cooldown. There's
Big
an
arrow.
arrow. I'm not sure about that arrow. The Haka is burrowing in, but it's kind of a predictable location. There's the Tranquility giving armor to everybody. It looks like BBJ actually has this well under control, keeping his allies alive. Batman trying to get in the bunker, but he couldn't because his feet were stuck on some roots or something. I don't know exactly what that was.
Same. I was looking at, like, the animation was there, but he just didn't actually step in. Repulsion value at level 20 from Dino, trying to displace the Dahaka. Haunting Wave in will pull this mind control onto Hazoabs, but no extra kill will be found. There's a trade into tanks, Varian for Diablo, but what is the difference is Diablo's souls were reset, so he's back on the map. And our next objective phase, single objective, bottom lane. It's not game ending, but it could be the setup for the end of the game. Mind control, there's a sleep, there's a root, there's, man, Emerald Dreams. I talked about baking in some talents on Gul'dan earlier. Can we just bake in Emerald Dreams somehow, some way? Like, land 20 roots on an enemy hero, you get Emerald Dreams or something. Like, I feel like this level 1, it's got to be shifted into a little bit of a later game value.
Well, it's already pretty good.
It is
I'm
so
just happy
good.
every time someone else goes for the other ones because
Oh,
they
same.
love questing so much. Let's look at boss. Boss 1 minute 20. Then sappers are here, so there's many win conditions out available on the map. Wait a
Controlled
second.
chaos.
That's
One,
one
two.
sapper, two sapper. That's two sappers.
One more.
GG. What? It's GG already.
Wow, the control, the play, and the flailing swipes with the literal controlled chaos from that Stukov. That was perfectly played by Yasu. I'm sitting here and I was, as we were getting on a game, I'm like, who's the MVP? And when it comes to assassins in this game, absolutely, Dino's Li Ming with 59,000 heroic damage, very good. Hanzo 69 nice thousand on the side of Storm Esports, but I kind of lean heavily into Yasu hard carrying a lot of these engagements with the burst protection of the Stukov. But let's get Justing back in the mix, and I want to hear your thoughts on that Towers of Doom game. Really dominant play from 30K in my opinion.
Yeah, 30K played really well that game. They came out the gates just swinging at the very start with 2 quick picks back to back, kind of just set the tempo for the game. But then they sort of got a little bit too overeager in the early and mid game. You saw that Blaze got really aggressive on the top altar on the first objective. You almost never do that. It's really risky to do that. He was trying to create space and buy time for his team to get the middle objective and then rotate up to help him. But Sylvanas actually rotated up and kind of ruined his day. And that sort of started like a little bit of a reversal in the momentum, but the momentum only went on the side of Storm Esports for a short duration there. Once 30K brought the momentum back, it was just non-stop aggression after that. Once they got just a little bit of advantages, 30K did not let up the gas at all. They just non-stop. They got the picks bottom. Like, Storm was not expecting them to come top after they got the bot picks. That one time they decided, hey, let's trade. Like, this is the smart macro thing to do, right? Wrong. 30K, very aggressive. They were in Storm's head after that, and they were just always one step ahead, it felt like. And Bad Benny on the Diablo in conjunction with Dino on the Li Ming was very, very scary. It seemed like it was just way too much for Storm Esports to deal with. You could see Dino is throwing out combos before Bad Benny even flips targets, so the timing is just perfect. Mm-hmm. There's no predicting it. There's no saving them for Malfurion for BBJ. He can't do anything about that. If the coordination is that good, there's just nothing to do about it. And then the ending was very, very cool. Yasu taking the slap upgrade at level 20, using that to full effect, slapping Storm Esports back so that they couldn't actually couldn't defend against the sappers. And that just gets the sappers in. That was a really, really cool way to end the game for the side of 30K. And after the little bit of a blip in the mid game, they brought it back and just looked very, very strong.
Strong showing from 30K, but let's look at things on the side of Storm Esports, because we sit here and we've been singing the praises of 30K. Storm Esports didn't look bad by any means. They did falter in some of these team fights, and I think there was a little misunderstanding of how aggressive 30K will be as we were actually just looking at that invade onto the top camp. So looking at the side of Storm Esports, what's the adjustments you would make, Grubby, into this roster going into the next map? Is it a draft difference, or I just want to get your thoughts on all this?
I don't know. It probably feels too early to go exactly into analyzing misdraft. It's a very particular map. The draft looked all right, though I did favor 30K a little bit. I think you just need to play off of your strength and play off of whatever next map it is going to be. I don't see like a huge issue here in how it was entirely impossible. I think it was mostly just a level thing. I think Yasu on Stukov and Dino on Li Ming played above average, far above average in general. When you look at all 10 players in this game, and I think it's fair to lose when people play that well.
They played super well on the side of 30K, and we're getting ready for our second map in the second best of 5. It's an exciting series to say the least, kicking off on Towers of Doom and a dominant start for 30K. As I said in the game, and I think Justin, you were alluding to it in your breakdown as well, there was just no let up in the pressure, the aggression from the side of 30K. We'll see if they can continue that momentum into our next map, because there's just a lot to consider when we look at that 30K roster as well as Storm Esports. But we got that map ready to go for everyone at home. And Justin, where are we going to be heading, chosen by 30K?
30K is taking us to Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is very interesting for 30K. That alludes to their strengths. They have Dino, who plays lots of Li Ming. Hospobs plays lots of Tychus. Both of these heroes are okay on this map. Li Ming can kind of play in the fog a bit. And I'd just like to point out that 30K did ban Volskaya, and because of that, they're my favorite going into the series.
Oh, well, there you go. Now you all know the way to Justin's heart. Just ban Volskaya Foundry or talk bad about it, and he'll absolutely love you. Springy might have a different opinion on the matter, but maybe one day we'll figure that out. But we are in Tomb of Spider Queen, one of the best Cho'Gall maps. Right, Grubby?
It is a map. And Cho'Gall is 2 heroes. And that's about as much as I'll give you, Baha.
You know what? I'll take what I can get. All right. Maybe I'll convince you one day. Justin, please save me.
Yeah, that was a... All right, to be fair, this is about the best map you can have for Cho'Gall. So this was Baha's one moment, I guess. I'll say, yeah, this is an okay map for Cho'Gall, kind of.
Yeah. That's true. I would be less furious with my allies if they did that than on Cursed Hollow, for sure.
Yeah.
You two talk about the draft. I'm done with you. You guys, you know.
I actually tried Cho'Gall on Cursed Hollow once. It was not fun.
I made my team pick it on Sky Temple at one point. That was not good.
Oh no.
But who was your Gall, Grubby? That's the question that I have to pose to you.
It wasn't actually me that Cho'Gall. It was 2 Storm League allies, and I had to try and cope and save the draft. So it wasn't me that tried it, but yeah, it was bad. They were toxic too. So anyway,
unfortunate. Well, let's talk about this map, because we got some fun drafts unfolding right now. And Grubby, what you think?
Johanna first pick? I'm thinking like question marks everywhere, man. I'm seeing them on the walls. Johanna, what? Johanna Varian? Is this going to be Shield Breaker Varian? What's going on here?
Did Lalbert move to Canada so he could get better ping to play Johanna? First pick Johanna is a little strange.
He's not exactly playing the high skill heroes like Murden and like the ones that need the big micro. He's going Johanna Varian.
I think they're doing a cheese comp though by the looks of things. It seems like they're going to try to just run it down or something. There's some weird shenanigans going on, I believe, because otherwise the first pick Johanna, although it is on Tomb where the wave clear is nice, it is still very, very strange to go with it at that much priority.
Lily next, Mass Blinds.
I mean,
could be. It's actually not bad, Lily into Varian Tychus.
No, it's funny because like you say this, and I think back, I'm like, man, this feels like a Wild Heart draft realistically if we're gonna go Lily, but a Deckard Kane ban. The AOE actually is really, really strong. Healing mitigation could be huge. Maybe the side of 30K is looking at a Brightwing or considering it, so they don't want the Emerald value to mitigate phase shift healing by 75%. But things like Ana are still up and available. Granted, I look over at the side of Storm Esports and Grubby, I don't see a way that Ana really nano boosts anyone valuable at this point.
Yeah, not exactly. What about Morales? I think Stim Cassia is not that strong.
But you can go into Medevac and just juice the enemy team.
That is possible.
Look, I gotta get my Cho'Galls. I gotta get my Juice Pirates out at some point today. We're getting into the second best of 5, so I gotta check the boxes on those ones. But seriously, as we get into the latter half of the draft, Justin, I want to get your thoughts on these next 2 picks as well as just what we're seeing.
Really interesting that 30K has just completely ignored the Brightwing. I had kind of thought that the Deckard was alluding to them just denying the Brightwing because BBJ is really well known on that hero. That's one of his best heroes by far. So banning away the Deckard and not taking the Brightwing yourself is a little strange. Although BBJ does also play Lucio quite well, so maybe there's some internal dynamics, maybe from scrims or something that I'm not aware about. But I'm very curious to see what Storm does with their last 2 picks to make this draft make sense. That's the big
She's
reveal.
got more blinds. Yeah, that's the big reveal. She's got more blinds, so we do have triple blind for Cassia. Is that good enough?
It's a pseudo double support style composition with Oriel just providing a lot of sustain, and all of them, Cassia, Yrel, just being kind of bruiser-esque characters, and Zarya providing that extra support. I don't hate the finished product on the side of Storm Esports. I'm still a little bit questioning why they went with the Johanna first pick. It seems really weird. I really like Tassadar actually on the Spider Queen. I think this is by far Tassadar's best map. He is one of those characters that I've referenced as what I would call a goalie, like a Deathwing or a Junkrat or a Chromie, where they kind of just don't allow you to siege into that lane. Whatever lane that character is in is just unsiegeable. And the wave clear and just being able to do that on Tomb of the Spider Queen, especially against the draft that just wants to push on the side of Storm Esports, I think Tassadar was a really good response here for their final pick.
Well, when we look at the drafts in totality here, adjusting, I want to get a little prediction from you. Who do you think could take this? Because it's sounding like a 30k win from you, if I'm not mistaken.
I'd say it's slightly favored for 30k. Storm Esports comp isn't bad. If the Johanna was... Honestly, I think if Johanna was like an Uther or something that provided a little bit more utility, she could go the Falling Sword route, and maybe they can have that sort of just meatball, deathball style composition where they all just clump up and fight. That might be strong, but I think that the Tassadar in the early game should negate a lot of their early siege potential. And overall, I think if they do make it to late game, 30k's level 20s are probably a bit better as well. So I'm going to say slightly 30k favored, but relatively even overall, considering the Johanna first pick.
Alrighty, Justin, thank you for the breakdown analysis. We'll see you after map number 2, and the Spider Queen, because we are loaded on in. We got the players on the battleground as we got Storm Esports on the left-hand side, Lauber on the Johanna, BBJ on the Ariel, IBTings on the Cassia, Retso on the Zarya, and Dequaza on this Yrel. Over in the red, we got 30k, Liam on the Leoric, Dino on the Tassadar, Yasu on the Lucio, Bad Benny playing Varian, and Hazuabs once again reprising the role on Tychus. A lot of big factors to consider here, Grubby. We have Retso playing the Zarya, which is something that is very, very strong. Retso's had some insanely good Zarya games in last season, and I'm sure in the off season as well. But then I look at, the opposing side. We got Yasu with the Monka Steer Lucio. It's hard for me to decide, but I'm going to lean 30k after what I saw in map number 1. I do have some notes on the Tassadar, but before I even get into those, I want to get your thoughts, Grubby, because it's been a little bit since we've heard from you.
I'm a big fan of Tassadar, not as much of Ariel. For this reason, I'm actually leaning towards 30k. But if I look at both comps, I do see a big pattern of play there for Storm and a little bit harder of a story for 30k of how their team fight and game is going to go. Bad Bunny, he's great on Varian as well. Yeah, I think 30k... I'm not convinced of Zarya, but I think Retso is the best Zarya. So I think it's actually super 50-50. Let's just hinge it on that.
I like that as well. But on the note of Tassadar, it was I was watching a Hazuab stream this past week or the week before or something like that, and I actually think he was playing with Dino, and at the end of the match, they won the Tomb of the Spider Queen map very, very quickly, and at the end, I swear it was Dino, I heard him just go, this hero's broken on this map. Like, that's quite literally what he was, like, the feeling that, and even then, like, Hazuab's on his own stream was like, yeah, I agree with you on that one, because they had such a dominant play. So this Tassadar, it's exciting to see. I believe it's the first Tassadar of CCL, and we'll see how he's going to play this. Looks like it will be a Storm build, so this does allow a lot of good wave clear, a lot of good poke, and in a team fight, a lot of good circles on the ground to really kind of just whittle down the enemy heroes. Granted, we do have that Zarya and Ariel for a lot of protection, whether it be burst healing from BBJ's healing or just a little bit of a bubble from the Zarya. Time will tell what's going to happen on this map, but I'm with you and Justin. I'm going to give it over to 30k. And we have a pretty standard start to this map. A little, actually, this not too standard, where we have Retso Lauber pushing hard into the top lane. Typically, it's just a priority into rotations, but Bad Benny just can't deal with this initial siege right now, as the rest of his team is still soaking up and grabbing gems. But in these rotations and this little bit of siege, Storm Esports has found a sliver of experience advantage over the side of 30k.
See the quest talent coming in for BBJ. It's actually a lot of bonus damage, like 250 bonus damage on an ability that deals a baseline damage of just 67 and can do extra all the way to 260. So if he completes it now, it'd be double damage. It doesn't scale, but even by level like 15, it's still more than 50% extra damage. It's really, really solid. Meanwhile, Dequata, 15 gems. He gets taken out for the first blood of the game with no one being able to get anywhere near it. Nice counterplaying the mass support rotation play by Storm. 30k to punish the solo lane. Dequata, again, the first kill of the game.
Now, this is, I think, a perfect example of, you know, when to call for a gank. And so how did, as we're kind of just watching the rotations continue, how did 30k know that they could go for this gank? Was it just the fact that...
I wonder too.
Yeah, because it's just like, was Yrel too far out in the lane? Like, what was the call that really kicked off the, like, hey, we got to go kill Yrel? Because she has Dauntless at level 1, and that makes it difficult to kill Yrel. That's 35 armor anytime an ability is used, and Yrel has the trait or the value to be able to just activate one of her abilities with her trait. So it's not an easy gank potential, and I really wish like we could just be in a fly on the wall to hear exactly how 30k was able to make that call, as Yasuo gets a push off, will not be killed. This is a web weaver though for the side of 30k. What kind of value can they get, Grubby?
Let's see, 30k got that off the back of that Yrel kill. There was a lot of space created. Yrel, Dequata in the bottom lane again. Kind of losing out to Liam there with the good drain hopes. And now let's talk a little bit about that Tassadar build. He's got a bunch of really cool talent trees. I've been playing around with them a lot this year. And this level 1 Psystorm talent gives range. And then his level 7 Psystorm talent gives him the ability to do a shock ray, to do a Psystorm into a shock ray that also causes a Psystorm. Now, shock ray normally has a greater range than Psystorm. So what you do with this level 1 Psystorm range talent is to allow both of them to hit far away. And the way that Psystorm works is it starts with low damage, and then every second it gets more and more damage until it reaches its max, where it stays for a bit as it continues to trickle in damage. If you layer 2 Psystorms, the second Psystorm won't stack in damage, as in it won't double it, but it does pick up from the current damage threshold. So 2 Psystorms in each other has a much larger percentage of maximum Psystorm damage. So the combo is hit a shock ray from afar, hit a Psystorm from afar, and then a shock ray. If you can get that, it's a lot of long distance artillery damage, and that is a very powerful combo for Tassadar.
Or you just taunt the Cassia and let Tychus just shred through her face, because that was a nice kill on Cassia through this bottom lane. I was expecting Zarya bubble, something to be able to mitigate that kill, but it's just not enough. And there's another kill for 30k. They have built that momentum, as we talked about on Towers of Doom. Turn-in is here for the side of Storm Esports, but I don't feel, excuse me, like Storm Esports can even step up around the clutch or the turn-in area, because there's just so much rotation, such heavy rotations consistently from Bad Benny and the rest of 30k. BBJ getting chunked, has a full bar of hope, and his Ray of Heaven was off a cooldown, just kind of hoping and waiting and holding that just in case anyone else needed that big burst in healing. I do want to also note, and maybe I'll hold this thought for a second, as Dequata does jump into mid lane, there is going to be a force wall from the Tassadar. Does have that electric fence from level 4 for the slow and damage over time. Bad Benny going to round the corner with a charge, and a tomb from Leoric will be utilized. Tassadar did go black hole at level 10. No Archon form. We could see a black hole here in this corridor. It's a pretty good lineup, maybe to lock everyone against the wall, but an expulsion zone will zone back this Tassadar. He's looking for the angle, still poking out with those shock rays and Psystorms. Waiting here as Lucio gets into the backline, and Grubby, this fight is just non-stop.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty impressive by 30k to keep up the sustain against this mass support composition. In the meantime, it's been tough for BBJ to get his quest stacks up. I'm not sure he's hit a single detainment strike. And I've seen him do at least 10. I think he's missed every single one so far. Don't know if he's out of shape or if people are just moving really well. But it's been tough, and he doesn't have any quest stacks, nor is he getting the effect that it generally offers. Let's all look very critically at his next detainment strike. If he misses it, it's GG. If he hits it, Storm wins.
All right, there you go. You just
he
called
did
it.
hit it, but not into a wall. So it's 50-50. 8-Ball says, I'm not sure.
I was actually going to bring up a point about the Lucio. I was wondering if just the speed boost might actually make it a little difficult to line things up, but here comes a lineup onto the Joanna. She does get taunted, gets the barrier in bottom lane. Our observer is able to catch the the Ardent Defender used by Urel, so she stays alive. And the engagement through mid kind of peters out, so good catch. Thank you for seeing that right there as Yasu speeds in. Honestly, Grubby, I feel like 13 with Bad Benny is going to be a big talent because that shattering throw will really, really make these shields difficult for Storm Esports to actually have the sustainability.
If he goes for it, right? Like, there are so many shields, so it makes sense, but just watch him go for the healing debuff instead. I don't know. Might be, huh? Because Ariel gets pretty big heals with the level 16 quest talent if she goes for that, which is level 7 suggests he might.
Fight breaks out once again around the turn-in, both teams having the available turn-in potential. Storm Esports trying to get their first turn into the game. With 30K could find a second one of the game and for this red roster. But here comes the Commandeer Odin. Retso going for the channel. Won't work out. Dequaza is going to be zoned away. Tastar looking to jump in here. Here's a nice entomb, but it's canceled out because the Urel gets the Avenging Wrath over the wall. Ivy Tings trying to throw out some poke potential, and we have a little bit of a pause. And we'll go ahead and start taking stock of what's happening on the map, and we'll get back into what this engagement is going to look like, Grubby, because both teams have all their structures up, but what I do want to say when it comes to these structures is that there's been a lot more siege available for the side of 30K. Is this going to be a telling of the future, or do you think Storm Esports can start reeling and rolling things back into the face of 30K?
Well, usually you look at the level 10 and you say, well, they haven't been able to play the game until now that much yet, but their level 10s give them a lot of agency. That's not really the case here. Cassia didn't go for the Valkyrie Spear to pull someone towards her, and Johanna doesn't have Blessed Shield. So there aren't two easy ways to engage. So it kind of reminds me of that... I think we saw a passive Tyrael draft on Tomb of the Spider Queen last weekend, where a team just watched the game roll by until the closing credits and their core blew up. And while it is certainly not going to be that way for Storm, they do not have a very clear engage path. Their goal is to just be S5 to out-support and out-sustain 30K, and then suddenly to see a weakness and try to punish someone. Probably their best engage tool is Expulsion Zone, which is really strange. They're just trying to push down buildings, like they're trying to be strong enough so that they can start driving into the wall and have the wall move instead of them. We'll see how that's going to go. This is a super random falling sword born from frustration of the passivity, I feel like.
And there's another engagement once again. The Shattering Throw was picked up by Bad Benny. Sorry, everyone caught in the corner. Sound Barrier from Yasu just to mitigate the ball lightning value, and 30K can continually step into the face of Storm Esports, but Storm Esports... No! Dino snuck away during all of this. Part of my brain was just like, man, Tassadar hasn't been in the engagement for a while, and I was literally about to be like, I wonder where Dino... Oh, he's getting a turn-in. Well, second turn-in...
Bahamut takes his finger off the report button, trying to report that they're literally not helping. Oh, good job, good job.
I was already typing up the report, and it was just like, let me just hit escape. Never mind. But let's take a look at mid, because it seems like there's a little bit happening right now. Bad Benny is going to get knocked around by the Righteous Hammer. We have protection. Parry available. Bad Benny looking to re-engage. Lobber, 49 gems, gets taunted. Shattering Throw. I don't even know if it was utilized right there. I'm going to check really quickly.
He used it on Iron Skin and then just normal auto attack shield breaking against the Zarya shield. Lobber should have Iron Skin again back quite soon. He's got 49 gems. It's on a 3-second cooldown. Red Web Weavers have already been taken care of in the center. Hazelhops and a Web Weaver are pushing top. That's worth a fort. That's a cool expulsion. Leoric is gonna die, but he uses his damage. Wait, is he though? He used his damage debuff, so this was a willing feed in order to get greater results, and I think that was a really good call there by Liam.
Oh, absolutely. I think that was a very, very smart engagement. For anyone wondering, you're just like, Grubby, Bahamut, what are you talking about? He just Wraith Walked and died. Ominous Wraith from level 13, increased Wraith Walk duration by 100%, enemy heroes that come into contact with the Wraith, the ghost form, the spooky spectral guy, deal 50% less damage for 4 seconds. So you're I wouldn't say burst mitigating, but you're definitely reducing the incoming damage, allowing Lucy to heal through and Bad Benny to set up something with this Tassadar, liking the way that we saw that engagement from 30k, and still, with the Webweaver phase expiring, we only need, I think I actually saw it was really quickly, it's like 7 or so gems away from another turn in from 30k, which is three lane rotations. And Grubby, we have that last fight for you and I to take a look at. Can you break it down for everyone at home to see how this went?
Yep, Storm wanted to rotate top to stop the Webweaver, and they think they catch a Leoric, but that ominous Wraith did so much damage reduction that it took way too long. Then a big black hole came in from Dino, and it peppered everyone with damage and stuns. Meanwhile, Hazuops and Dino were shooting away with bonus damage, and they get a kill. That's a great trade. Cassia, main DPS there for the team, upon whom everything hinges. And all in all, 1-for-1s are fantastic, not just because Leo died, but because they still had Webweavers pushing top. And let's look at the top. Yep, the whole keep wall has pretty much been evaporated because of that. So they don't mind Liam getting caught like that. And Storm, well, if they wanted to roll back time, they would have had to rotate past the slow side, past their own keep. Either way, it was tough for them.
I'm looking at the gem count right now, 144 in the pockets of Storm Esports, 64 on Joanna. Like, if production hits Control 6, they can break this down for everyone at home as well, because like there are so many gems on the side of Storm Esports, and it's just another turn-in for 30k. That's the 3rd turn-in. 3 turn-ins, 0 turn-ins for the side of Storm Esports, and 30k, they are just controlling this map. It's so hard for anything on the side of Storm Esports to happen. Liam gets dropped low, but there's a Yasu to be able to amp it up. Yasu pre-taps well, and here comes the Webweaver phase, Grubby. Black Hole comes out as well, and you know what? This might be a good time to get into comms. Do you want to jump into someone's comms here?
Yeah, let's go into Storm.
Into Storm we go.
Okay, Liam. I think we're fine.
They beat it.
I'm just dead now. Imja is dying though, kind of.
No.
I still have our.
It makes you
I can run away. I can run away.
They might look to wall.
Just here, and then they have no gems. If we live, we're good.
Using.
I mean, mid spider's dead.
I'm gonna camp bottom.
I can start clearing top if you find
They might be coming bottom now.
They're coming to
Yeah.
bot. They're
Yeah.
just helping bot. You clear top.
Yeah, go for it to bottom. I can probably swoop it.
We're only losing it.
Let's try to pay to get some next back. Are we stronger to it?
You can like bait the taunts. I have them.
Okay. Look
I'm
at
just
here.
scared of the
Look at that,
tassel.
look at that.
Canapa.
We're black hole.
They're just disengaging.
I have no energy.
Back to soak.
Can push out mid wave and play for turn maybe.
I gotta get. I'm rich though. I'm rich fish.
Soon. Go clear another top.
Yeah, I got it.
I just want the globes.
We jump back out of those comms, and the last thing at least I heard before I had to get out of there was just, I'm rich, and it's just like, yeah, me too. Like, a lot of these members have so many gems from Storm as Varian comes back in with another taunt, and Ivy Tings will not fall, but it's such a hard place to be in. Liam going for a huge flank into this Grubby, but here come Blue Webweavers for Storm Esports with an Entomb connecting onto Rutso.
There's Crystal Aegis, they use it, it dodged the shock ray from Tassadar, and that would have been the only thing that could have taken him down. So nice timing there by BBJ. The Webweavers have been summoned. Finally sharing some of that wealth, redistributing it, is Storm Esports. And they still have enough for a second turn in, and dare I say another one? So if this goes well, it may go very well indeed. Lauber pushing in top into Liam, just trying to make sure that Webweaver is healthy. Overall, this was a stellar defense by 30k. Catapult clearing bottom Weaver, Leoric clearing top. Mid almost gone as well. And it's tough to really push in here. The grenades coming in, the Tassadar poke, hard to keep everyone alive. And there have been at least a number of engagements where a kill on Leoric, even just Leoric, could have been made if there was a Blessed Shield. But they don't have a flip the switch and kill this target button.
They attempted to do so from time to time, and actually we see another rotation into bottom lane to try and kill Leoric, but he's got the Royal Focus, the Ominous Wraith. He's going to be able to just Wraith Walk away. Ball Lightning will jump around, but it won't yield the kill. What is going to be a kill is Zarya going down in the rotation. Little focus onto bottom lane. Nice Taming Strike into the wall. Condemned to follow up, and Yasuo does go down. Trades being had here. Here comes the Entomb. No Buried Alive. BBJ doesn't have the Crystal Aegis for 30-some more seconds. BBJ a little low here. Bad Benny trying to jump into the backline. Liam low as well. Wraith walk through. He tries to apply the Drain Hope onto BBJ. Bad Benny comes in with another charge. BBJ is so very low. BBJ is just trying to get out, and Varian goes down. BBJ lives, but he will be falling to the Tassadar. Gems dropped on the ground by quite a few members, but it still is Storm Esports coming out on top of this with a solid quadra kill. And the biggest conversation to have, Grubby, the waves are pushed in. Lauber's got 61 gems to deposit into the bank. This is looking like a big siege for Storm Esports.
Dude, this was Ariel and BBJ at his best. He was saving up for this moment, and he let it all out, screaming into a quiet room. And it was very relaxing for him indeed. To get those sequences of moves, he combined the power of Glimmer of Hope level 7 together with Reservoir of Hope to have a small energy bar that didn't run out as quickly as you might expect, with repeated heals on himself, with the shields that were coming in, with the blinds from Cassia, what have you, and he just kept alive much longer than he should have. And of course, throughout all of that, Lucio was dead. It was a great time for Storm to fight. No sound barrier was cast there. A really good series of moves there from Storm to get the kills there. Exactly the kind of sloppy chaos that they like, that they should thrive in, but they just haven't been able to really make it happen. This is obviously a massive Web Weaver push, just a far cry from the previous one. They can get another one right away afterwards.
If Storm Esports wins this map, it will be through that engagement, that quadra kill that we just saw, because that has really shifted the pressure, shifted the dynamics of these two teams. And with Grubby, I'm going to do some casual caster math right now. I think with 79 gems, Dayquaza might have enough for a turn in. Just maybe, just maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see, 60...
it's going to be close.
Yeah,
it's going to be really, really close.
It's enough.
5 up on kills, though. 20s are here for both teams, and we actually have the Crystal Aegis upgrade, the Diamond Resolve. When Crystal Aegis expires, it grants the target 75 armor for 5 seconds, reducing damage taken by 75%. Lauber being chased in by Bad Benny and Yasuo. There's an Avenging Wrath ready to go over the wall from Dayquaza. As you can see, those wings out, but it's not going to be the case. Insta-mount with the Divine Steed. Camp to be grabbed on the left-hand side. And they're fine with this on the side of Storm, Grubby, because 30k doesn't have enough gems for turn-in. There's some 23-ish gems available, 25-ish gems available for turn-in out of the 65 necessary. I feel like what Storm wants to do is push out the waves just a little bit more, send Dayquaza back, continue to control these lanes, and then push in with another Webweaver phase. At least that's my expectations. Dayquaza, though, they got the wings out, looking to chase in. Here comes the Divine Steed. There's a Taming Strike into the wall. There's a huge explosion zone. It's massive, Grubby.
Yep. That was great. It all started with a Detainment Strike from BBJ, hitting a really odd corner on Varian, really. That set them up real nicely for the Expulsion Zone. Dino now, maybe for his first death of the game. Oh, this is calamitous. This is disastrous. It's a catastrophe. 5 versus 2. Storm Esports is pushing in. They've got the blue Web Weavers. They can entirely ignore the bottom siege camp. Liam trying to do what he can, trying to get some ominous wraithing in everybody, reducing their damage. And he will survive for now. But I think this deluge isn't going to be ending at this dam right here. I think they're looking to crash all the way over to the core. Don't think there's anything HeroesCCL can do to stop this.
Hazu doesn't have the Commandeer Odin for 45 seconds, and Tomb is up and available for the Leoric. We still have Bad Benny dead for the next 8 seconds, and the core shielding is starting to fall. Liam jumps into the backline trying to make something happen. Falling Sword once again. The Unstoppable inside the Buried Alive. The core shielding is falling. Bad Benny's back into the mix, but Bad Benny does not have enough damage. Falling Sword value over and over again. Cassia drops the Ball Lightning, but what else is dropping is the core HP. In game number 2 heads over to the side of Storm Esports. It's not going to be any sort of quick 3-0s for the second best of 5. we are going to be seeing a few more maps here, and maybe I should just keep caster cursing both sides so we get to map number 5. Because if I say Storm for the next game, maybe 30k wins, and I just keep doing this back and forth until we get a game 5. But we've seen a lot of great action here, Grubby, and the biggest thing that I actually want to pose to Justin as we bring him back in is, what was the turning point for Storm Esports? How did they do this? Because it seemed all 30k.
The turning point in that game was definitely that quadra kill in the bot lane. So they get the objective, and it's looking... 30k is kind of just chasing them around the map at that point, and they get the pick while Storm is rotating into bottom. But it doesn't... one pick seems good, but they kind of stick around, and then they get really split up, and it's like their positioning is just really awkward in that moment. And that type of positioning where Storm with their comp is able to be together, grouped up, even if they lost one member, and 30k is more split up, that really favors Storm, because Storm's composition wants to be really grouped up. They want to be taking like 3v1s within the fight. They want to always be next to each other. So splitting up 30k where they were split between mid and bottom there, that losing 4 members just completely turned the momentum. And also something on Tomb in particular, it's kind of weird to me that teams haven't maybe caught on to this so much. Something that I was trying to do, and that when you watched our team play this map, I did as a shot caller, I didn't care about the first turn in at all. If you don't lose after the XP changes, it's very, very hard to actually snowball the game on Tomb of the Spider Queen. The way that the map works, the first objective is nice, but unless you can literally just run 3 spider waves back to back to back and get boss and close the game out, it's nearly impossible to do that. I don't mind giving the first objective. I would normally be like, oh, they turned in? Good. And so that was kind of the story of this game, is 30k uses all their gems 3 turn-ins in a row, but they don't ever go for boss. They don't ever really push their advantage. After all 3 turn-ins, all they had was the 4th. That was it. But Storm had over 100 gems. They had 2 to 3, 4 turn-ins almost worth of gems saved up that whole time. So while Storm was losing, they were still keeping their gems, and that was really what was important. Is that was what fueled the comeback. Is after they got those 4 kills, they had their turn-ins in the late game when it really counts, when it really matters. And so it kind of just felt like 30k sort of just ran out of steam, because they literally ran out of gems, and then there's nothing left in the bank or in the tank for them to deal with the side of Storm once they start coming back.
So is this a tactic that we should be utilizing in a lot of our games, Justin, where we don't go for these initial turn-ins, and we kind of build up a nice bank account, and then we just get back to back to back turn-ins, and we just win the game, right?
Depends on the team compositions, but if you think that you have a better level 20, it's a very viable strategy on Tomb of the Spider Queen to basically just give all the turn-ins, and just as long as you know that you're not going to get dove, you can just give all the turn-ins and wait for late game if you think that your scaling is better. Because the late game is really what counts. The early spiders, it's very hard to convert into a game win, which we saw here. 30k got 3 spiders in a row, but that's not enough to close out the game for them, and then they're just all out of gems.
So for the avoidance of doubt, and to be absolutely clear, I think, Bahamut, next time one of your allies is absolutely loaded and finally paying on one of those space stations, you should spam ping retreat and say, I got a plan. It's not going to bite you in your behind.
Alrighty, yeah, I'll make sure in my Storm League to do that this week, and if it doesn't go well, I'll be sure to bring it up here and blame you, Justin and Grubby, for my loss, and I'll just ask for some points back through Storm League. But either way, no, we actually have a lot of fun here. We're having some good games, and we're not done by any means. This best of 5 series is still going strong, and as I said, we're not done. But we're going to take a short little break here. In that break, I encourage you to hit ! Prize pool. Where does that take you? Well, it takes you over to the Matcherino, and if you'd like to donate towards HeroesCCL, it's always much appreciated. Because of your support, we've hit $3,601. Don't forget about that, the incentivization of hitting 4K for a little Logan, maybe some Springy to be brought onto stream. So we encourage you all to go ahead and hit ! Prize pool, and if you'd like to donate towards it, we very much appreciate it. But as I said, we're going to go ahead, take a small break, let these teams get ready for map number 3, and when we come back, we're going to see who's going to start rising to the occasion in this 30k versus Storm Esports matchup. Don't go anywhere. This is HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. The HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. I'm still Bahamut, joined by the amazing Grubby and Justing, and we are in our second best of 5 of the day. Both teams, Storm Esport and 30K, sitting 1-1 in the score, and it hasn't been a dull series by any means, Justing. It has been a lot of great back and forth so far.
Yeah, both these teams are looking pretty evenly matched, and like I touched on earlier, although Storm is low in the standings, that might not necessarily be reminiscent of where their power level really is. Because 30K is a top contender for me, but Storm is really pushing them to their limits right now. It's 1-1. Both teams looking super strong.
Big turnaround in the last map, and we actually have our next one ready to go. Tomb was really, really great, Grubby. We did start out on Towers of Doom with 30K winning that one. Storm Esports just won Tomb of Spider Queen, and now Storm Esports, they're going to be choosing map number 3 as 30K wants first pick. But Grubby, what map did Storm Esports choose for us?
Yo, it's going to be Infernal Shrines. Now, they haven't played on that this season yet. But 30K's got a game on it against Oxygen, where they used a Tychus and Falstad composition together with Leoric to win against the Stitches comp. And 30K has only played that once, so not a lot of new information from that. Just a classical map without usually, like Justin has been saying, too much potential for split push tactics. The objective is strong, it must be respected. You need the wave clear, you need a good team fight as Teamfight will often get you that objective.
Teamfight objective is huge for this map, and we have. Sorry, I was just checking some quick stats as well for the if there's anything relevant to really bring up for Infernal Shrines. But it is the biggest thing is just in my opinion, Justing, is just that momentum you can gain with the Punisher, and this is a respect onto that Zarya. I shouldn't have bet against Retso Zarya, but you know. That's how things go, but please.
I mean, that game came down to almost like it could have went either way up until the very end there. Retso was making Zarya look good, even when they weren't doing necessarily what you expect a Zarya comp to do of just sieging. You did notice that throughout the game, it was even making Johanna look scary. She was just zooming at people, just sprinting at them with the Zarya bubbles. The speed shield at level 4, Retso making good use of that. And Tychus picked up by Hasuabs. Has Hasuabs played Tychus every game? I can't remember a single game with Hasuabs not on the Tychus. It's crazy
OTP,
to first it.
One Tychus pony.
Yeah, I guess. And it is good on the map. The Odin is super strong. The grenade build is very strong here for securing the objective. Brightwing, again, is just being completely ignored in the draft, which I think is very strange considering all the other teams' priorities, as well as what we know from BBJ. So, okay, there she is. Good. I like that. That's good to see. And Liam saying that the Leoric was not the problem, and they're willing to run it back.
What did you say the weirdest thing so far is first picking Johanna every time?
Yeah, it's pretty weird. yeah, she's gone. I mean, I don't think you need to do that. I think it's more of... I think that it is a response to the Tychus. That's my assumption, and that since it is so predictable that Hasuabs is picking Tychus every time it's available, that is probably just what Lauer feels the most comfortable going up into the Tychus on. There is a lot more counters specifically to Varian and one-shot style compositions than Johanna, who kind of exists and is there and has multiple playstyles to some extent.
Yeah.
If you are wondering, I did take a little quick deep dive into the Hasuabs play pool for Season 3 of CCL. Has touched the Sylvanas, Hanzo, and Lunara because we have talked quite extensively about how I wouldn't say it's just Hasuabs, but we're seeing a lot more Lunaras going Thornwood Vine, and a lot of people are like, well, Hazu's doing it on his stream, so it's kind of a little bit of his push in the meta per se. He's not like out there, on a soapbox screaming about Thornwood Vine, but a lot of people are going to take after his playstyle since he is one of the top tier range assassins we have in HeroesCCL. But speaking of Lunara, Grubby, we got one for Storm Esports.
Yep, Lunara coming in here with BBJ on the Lucio now. And IB Things on Lunara. That leaves us with one more flex pick in Ratso. And usually when you've got Lunara, you can be a finisher with Leaping Strike, though it's not exactly very safe into, I would say, Tychus, Brightwing, and Leo. You can play your Thornwood Vine, and then you would need another finisher. Well, what is Ratso going to go for? I'm thinking it's going to maybe be Tracer or Sylvanas. That's not an option anymore. Probably both isn't an option. Into Varian, Brightwing, you don't want Tracer, and Sylph has been stolen. So I wonder where that leaves him, actually.
Maybe a mage justing, something for a little more wave clear and poke around the shrine, potentially? Like, you could go Gul'dan for double damage over time?
I don't think he plays it.
Yeah,
Well, that is true. Yeah, sorry. That is the other consideration.
Probably Hanzo is my guess. It's mostly just going to be a safe range. Like, Chromie would be something that could also work. Ooh, Mephisto. Okay. I do like that. Finally, a Mephisto on Shrines. I'm a big fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Mephisto on Shrines is really disgusting. Seeing 30k... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you really quickly, which build for Mephisto do you prefer? Lightning Nova or Missiles?
I prefer the W stuff.
Okay.
Lightning Nova stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think Q build, you have to be able to do the weird trick with the 16, I believe, where the explosion happens. And it's really wonky. It's a pretty finicky thing. You need to be able to make Q build work. You have to be basically a Mephisto 1 trick, because you need to like jiggle. You throw the Q out and then you jiggle, and it can kind of proc the Q multiple times. It's a very strange interaction with that talent, but overall, both drafts looking pretty good. I think that 30k may have made a slight draft blunder by picking up the Leoric as early as they did. Yrel and Dahaka were both available, as well as Diablo, with them already picking up the Tychus. I think that Varian makes their composition pretty one-dimensional. And Mephisto on Shrines, I think Storm's composition is overall just a little bit better. They got more priority picks. In my opinion, the Mephisto is going to just do whatever he wants this game. So I'm saying probably 60-40 Storm Esports, but it could come down to gameplay. 30k might be pretty mad.
Well, 30k might be the ones who are angry here, but we're happy to have you break things down for us, Justin. Thank you for your analysis, as always, and we'll see you after Infernal Shrines, because we are loaded on in. Ladies and gentlemen, the scores sit 1-1 for Storm Esports and 30k, so let's get these teams introduced, because we've got BBG on the Lucio, Lauber on the Joanna, IBTings on the Lunara, Retso on the Mephisto, and Dayquaza playing the Blaze. In the 30k red side, we got Hazuobs once again, weirdly enough, on a Tychus. That's crazy, Grubby. We got a Bad Benny Varian, Liam on the Leoric, Yasu on the Brightwing, Dino on this Sylvanas. I'm kind of leaning Storm Esports on this one. I feel like they might have figured out the playstyle of 30k, and I really, really like the Mephisto. I think there's a lot of good synergistic value post 10. Lauber had a great showing on the Joanna. 20 talents here. Falling Sword is huge as well. I expect this game to go to a level 20. And I don't know. It's looking good for Storm in my opinion, but I haven't heard your opinion a little bit here, Grubby, and I want to get your thoughts on the draft, the play style, what could happen here on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, I think Mephisto is really cracked. He's crazy, and this is one of his better maps. For this reason, I think Storm should do well. Bad Benny, he felt less comfortable on Diablo. I agree that Diablo may have actually done more here. Oh, yo!
Can I change my bet again?
I'm sticking with 30. I'm sticking with 30k. Wow, lying face. No, I'm sticking with Storm.
Okay, all right.
Nice kill pick up there. This time, not the solo laner, not Dayquaza that died first for once, but it does mean that 30k started off all 3 maps with First Blood.
First Blood. And we get also Mortar Punisher mid lane first. Gonna be seeing some camps grabbed on the left and the right side. Pretty standard here in our rotations through Infernal Shrines. Ooh, wait, hold on. We have a little bit of a dive? No, we're good. We can check out that First Blood, though. I want to see, Grubby, how things kind of lined up for the 30k members.
Yeah, so Lucio is rotating on his own side of the map, right? Like, he's like, I'm fine, I'm safe. He even opens up with a check into the bush with a sound wave. That should make him safe. Plus, there isn't even any taunt. But they still have enough reach on him. That was crazy, actually, that they could get the kill on him.
Good execution from the 30k roster to be able to succinctly be able to dive blow up a Lucio, who's got so much movement speed. He's considered a very slippery hero, as well as with the ability to push off from the walls. You had mentioned
what
this.
Happened please. He goes in the bush, he did the sound wave, he saw there were people, and then the first thing he did wasn't to step back immediately. I think he was still holding his right mouse button of movement and like kind of going in that direction.
Got you.
A little bit too confident. I think that's what happened.
Carried the momentum with him, so he wasn't able to just back away. It's very possible. Tychus did go into the Master Assassin, but the talent that I actually want to talk about, and you brought this up yesterday, Grubby, when we saw Mephisto game, is Spite. Spite is so useful on a double soak rotation map like this because you are always able to be able to pick up a regeneration globe between the mid to bottom rotation. I feel like this is such a strong talent. I love the Hysteria at level 13 because you can get like perma cooldown reduction on your heroic. And the other thing to consider too, and I don't think CCL teams will do it, Grubby, but my favorite thing that I've seen a team do is the Gilly Sharks grabbed an Alex Straza with the level 1 Circle of Life, and it got buffed because there was less regeneration globes necessary. So every single team fight, Mephisto was like getting 2 to 3 Durance of Hates outs in a single team fight. It's just insane how much value you can get with that cooldown reduction from level 4 and level 13. But speaking of damage, though, there's a lot put into Varian. And Grubby, what do you think of this objective phase popping up right now?
With that much damage being done into 30k, you wonder if they can recuperate their health enough in time. And the answer seems to be no, and also we don't care. Or at least we're going for the second next best thing. And that's a Sylvanas empowered push with IB Things trying to do what he can to de-push 30k here. He's poisoning everybody a bit. But what he can't do is to repeatedly auto-attack Varian, because he could get taunted and polymorphed. And that could be lethal, as BBJ can attest to.
BBJ getting polymorphed there, getting pushed back a little bit. The push, though, is in from Lauber as he wants to try and get these last Skeletal Defenders. 33 to 30 in Skeletal Defenders. It's very close. Dino very low on this Sylvanas. Bad Benny very low as well. There's quite a few 30k members that could potentially be bursted down. Mephisto trying to find a Skull Missile for 1 or 2 more Skeletal Defenders. Manages to do so, and the Mortar Punisher comes in from mid lane. But so many Storm Esports members need to back away, or at least get a bolster in HP from BBJ, who's going to amp it up. Punisher jumps over the wall into Yasu. Yasu getting chunked to about 25% HP. And I think Retzo was, licking his lips. I don't know if Mephisto has lips, but he was excitedly chasing into the Brightwing with that Shaded Mephisto forward.
I think he's altogether too skeletal for that. Yeah, I'm afraid not. I know he has a tongue, but...
That was a really good tech right there from the Mephisto, actually, as we were moving down. He used the Lightning Nova as close to the wall from the camp to actually get vision onto the well, so the Impaler camp took down the well through mid lane. Just a little bit of tech and really, really good just map control from Storm Esports, removing lane sustain from said well.
Yeah, very nice there. Liam now trying to slow down Dayquaza. That's going to be a little bit of siege damage on the fort, and not only that, but Dino is coming here as well. He's going to do Black Arrow, shut down the fort. Now they can hit Dayquaza for free so long as Dino shuts down that fort every now and then, and he does. Dayquaza has dropped to 15%. In the meantime, what is Storm doing? They're getting a lot of damage in on Bad Penny. They interrupt with Condemn, the Yasu phase shift. They get the kill there on Varian, and Lauber's tanking the fort. He's very happy with that. I think you actually stay in that just to keep your minions alive. He stayed in it for a bit, and then he's like, okay, that's enough.
Because it does reduce your armor by 10 up to -20, and that really is a great opportunity for Hazuabs on the Tychus to start shredding through the Joanna. Not only can you get that percent-based damage, but you can also get the increased damage with the armor reduction. But there's a respect coming out from Lauber. Liam will Wraith walk out of the mid lane. Our next objective will be a Frozen Punisher in the top lane. Sylvanas did manage to get the push and take down the top lane fort. The trade was had into bottom lane, where there was the kill, plus the available push through the fort, and look at 10 talent tiers. Nothing crazy out of the ordinary. Oh, actually,
let's see.
Emerald Wind is a little interesting of a choice. Sorry, that did just catch my eye at the last second.
Yeah, that did just happen. That's a really bad level 10 talent, but it's a fantastic level 20.
Yup.
Though, it does mean no invisible friends, which is really strong, but you have and they removed the mana cost from Emerald Wind.
Yep.
At least the buff, the nerf to the mana cost at level 20.
Yeah. It's basically just a 5-second cooldown at this point with no mana increase.
You just get a 5-second cooldown. That's it. That's pretty good.
It's all right. It's okay, I guess. But no, I absolutely agree. Like, the utility and control you can get at 20 is really good, but the other conversation, and I said in the draft, this typically goes to 20. There are some fast Infernal Shrines maps, and getting to 20 is also something to consider as Yasu checks the bush. Condemn from Lauber won't connect.
We should definitely jump into Storm comms again sometime, because When we jumped in, it was a little quiet. They were, as we know now, kind of biding their time. It was the level 16 mark on Tomb of the Spider Queen. They had loads of gems. They hadn't really had anything to be too happy about, except not having lost those gems. They ended up winning that game. There wasn't much energy when we jumped in, and I would like to give a second chance to hear them again. Maybe as things are heating up over this objective phase.
I was going to ask you, do you want to jump in right now and see how things go, or do you want to watch Yasu get annihilated by the Durance of Hate?
Yeah, maybe a little bit later. They just got that kill on Brightwing, who is, of course, a sitting Fairy Dragon as she casts that and doesn't have Blink Heal to get away. Lauber tried to keep the fort alive, but I think 30k is making great strides towards opening up win conditions and getting advantages, ignoring the objective repeatedly, kind of going counter against adjusting prophecy, where he said that it doesn't really get done anymore that much on this map. Dino and 30k think differently, ignoring objective after objective in order to do side lane pressure with the Black Arrows.
Wonder a little bit if 30k is considering, okay, you know, the first couple Punishers, they can be strong, but we can defend against them. Let's try and open up the map, as you were saying, Grubby, and predict where the next one would be. We haven't had a Punisher in bottom lane yet, if I'm not mistaken, and the assumption, essentially, I would assume from 30k is, hey, we haven't had a bottom lane Punisher, let's push up bottom lane, hopefully we get that third Punisher and are able to then siege in with that value. Liam's going to tank damage from the Punisher down to about 50%. There's a taunt from the Varian on to the Mephisto, who returns to his origin point. This Punisher still wailing its way through the top lane. Commandeer Odin has come down from the Hazuabs, and a little Sentinel Wisp in the bush to make sure that there's no flank had from Dino and 30k members. I like the disengage through top, Punisher at 30-some%. This is a quick rotation to mid to try and find some double value, open up the map a little bit further, but no, maybe it's a chase on to Liam, who is going to be Wraith walking his way out of this, but there's the phase shift from Brightwing. Dayquaza, where are you going, bud? No one's around, yeah. He's like, I gotta get the Jipper Potion.
Just trying something. Stykes is still clearing up the top lane. And we have Bad Benny wondering if he should move in. But he doesn't have his Stykes here, so he thinks, okay, I'll just stay mounted here near the lane, get some information. Interesting level 13 coming out there from Mephisto. Abhorred Skull. Bonus damage 40% for Skull missiles against heroes that are under 50% health. And 25% spell power if you hit a hero with Skull missile. Pretty solid. Never really see it being taken. Usually we see more CDR from auto attacks and autos that splash. But I guess this is a lot more burst.
Spell power is going to, empower the Mephisto quite well from this. We do have a taunt onto Lauber, Wailing Arrow from Dino. Lauber dropped to 50%, but there was still a bunker floating around. All the heroics were ready to go, and I think BBJ probably had a high five to just give to Lauber as well. We have a mass rotation into Liam on the bottom lane, dismounted. Wraithwalk's available. Dayquaza trying to find the angle, but the origin point, Leoric's body, will expire, and that's a nice rotational kill into Leoric. Now, can Storm Esports make big plays off this? Next objective phase will be mid, so some initial siege would be strong with this Arcane Punisher coming up fairly soon.
Maybe very soon we'd like to hear from Storm and see how they're getting on, because they're finding themselves in, despite all the split push from Sylvanas, in a slightly advantageous position with 3 kills to 1, and with having only lost the 2 forts but winning all the objectives. If they can repeat that same feat, they would maybe trade in a Sylvanas fort or a keep wall while getting the objective again. Because it seems like 30k is saying, your shrine fight is a little better, we're afraid of it. Of the Mephisto on that shrine. So I don't know how long they're going to be able to trade in Punishers into Black Arrow value.
Jet Propulsion once again got that collision course, if I'm not mistaken, from the Blaze for that amplified burst damage. I mean, collision course right now, it's scaled to 515 damage, and then the baseline damage of Jet Propulsion is going to be 97, so you're dealing about 600 damage, a little bit more than 600 damage on that Jet Propulsion, but still, 600 damage into a Tychus? Well, Tychus has got 3,600 HP, so you're still chunking him for quite a bit of value.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good solid burst damage that can help close the gap and make someone's health reach 0 when otherwise it might not. Brightwing taking an important tech talent at level 16, going for that phase out. The only way that she can save herself, it's a mini stasis. I think it's a must pick if you're going Emerald Win, so good job there by Yasu. As the shrine is activating, I think it's a great time to let's hear it from Storm comms.
In we go.
They get the globe, get the globe, get the globe. Yeah. Scary. How's the top? Is it too much?
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. We got the wave.
Yeah, don't let Leo steal this with Q here, he will try it. He didn't steal that many.
Brightwing's low.
Play from the bottom root zone so you can get globes here. Behind us, behind us. I got silenced.
I'm gonna big kill.
Yeah, I think we win here now.
Leo's really low. He has Entomb still. He's killing Banner.
We should start winning now. I still
I'm
have
getting
R.
globe for you, Ruto, on wave.
Yeah. Nice. They just want to...
Leo is low, Leo is low, Leo is low.
Can we go
Can
there?
stun Leo, yeah?
I'm
Good
just doing
damage.
Dino.
I have R
He's
here
on.
now.
He's
I have R,
on.
I have R. Go, 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 go. Go.
Peek.
Peek.
Care for the
He's
win.
Lion, yeah. I'm gonna clear top.
Oh, yeah. Top. Wait, that's enough. We don't need more kills.
No.
BBJ! Oh, no, no, no!
I got him. He blew Entomb too.
Is that Yasuo?
It's,
Right?
he PvP'd us.
I'm losing.
Yasuo would have dodged the Titus
Yeah.
grenade, dude.
That's true, actually. And they ping, I guess.
Yeah. Oh! IB wants it.
We we talk about these players vibing, and at the end, just Yasuo would have died, would have avoided the grenade for Tychus. Oh my god, I had to literally cover my mouth when we saw the triple kill come through as well. Because Storm Esports, that was disgusting. You heard Resto go, I have ult, and then whoo, triple kill to be had, and BBJ with that follow up. And speaking of follow up, big jump propulsion from Blaze. The Punisher jumps over, but Liam is able to Wraith walk away.
Dude, that was insane. Like, they're so sober, and they took that so dryly, how BBJ actually made massive play there, getting another kill. His team was like, that's enough. He's like, one more Lucio auto, I got this, babe. The grenade didn't even matter. They're just giving him a hard time. Yasuo would have dodged. So funny. I'm glad we jumped in at the time. That was great.
But I believe...
See that fight one more time, Bahamut.
Yeah, we got the replay ready to go, and this is just huge setup from the jet propulsion of Blaze. Liam's so zoned out, and then Rutzo comes in with just the magnificent heroic to lock down two enemies of 30k, some leaping strikes from IB Tings, and then here's BBJ with the chase, sidesteps the Entomb, gets those couple autos, and is able to just get the Lucio wall ride value, and just the Lucio value that we often get to see in CCL, but not in our own Storm League games, because BBJ is just playing on a different level with this Lucio.
For real, he's the only death on the team, but it was only that level 1 death, level 2, which is it's really like whatever. For the rest, that's the only takedown. They've got 6 themselves in the meantime, and he is responsible for 2 of the last hits of those. So, great finisher is Lucio. Not a lot of damage per se, but does have that reverse amp to bring it up a little bit. Now, falling, so that was reverse amp actually doing a lot of damage on Brightwing. Brightwing is getting poisoned and actually makes it back to core. Johanna falls, doesn't have falling sword again. And I'm looking at the cooldown for Iron Skin, it wasn't up. So going a little deep there, past the keep with their level 20 versus 19 advantage. There's the Emerald Wind actually right before level 20. It's actually going a little bit disastrously here for Storm. They're losing a lot to kill the keep. And you know what? Sylvanas is going for their core. Took down their top keep. Dino is trying to end.
Dino pushes up a couple catapults. Those catapults dealing 570 damage into core. Blaze is going to be able to clear this out with BBJ. So it's a keep for bottom, traded in a keep in top. I'm trying to consider the 30k play right there, and I liked it up until it didn't work, which is, I know, a horrible way to break that down, but seriously, like, it looked like the right idea. The leaping strike over the structure to get IB Tings closer to the Brightwing. I feel like there just wasn't enough focus into the Brightwing.
You mean the Storm play? You mean the Storm play, yeah?
Yeah, the Storm Esports into the bottom lane. Sorry, I wasn't very clear on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's a phase shift in from Brightwing. We also do have the Emerald Winds with that level at 20 intensifying, when it felt like there wasn't enough target calling from Storm, and they were just having a little too much fun, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perhaps so, perhaps so. At the end of the day, though, I think Storm is still in a fine spot. They did dive a little deep and lost a few, but they did kill a Leoric, and I think the worst thing for them is to lose that keep. They did get a bunch of keeps, though. Now, can Johanna be one-shot? Yep. There's no vulnerability from Brightwing, but it was still more than enough damage. Let's see, does anyone have armor debuff on this team at all? Nope, it was just damage, and it was a lot of it.
Really strong damage coming in. Johanna dead for the next 50 seconds. The Hearth will be had because there was some waves pushed in on the right side. There's a Durance of Hate out from Mephisto, not connecting. Haunting Wave in from Dino. There comes the phase shift from Brightwing, and Dino's okay. Bad Benny charging onto Blaze. He has the Jet Propulsion away. The bunker does expire. 33 seconds left on this Johanna as the objective phase is triggered by 30k. 30k, they're making quick effort. Whoa, Yasu getting chunked by Mephisto. 30k actually pushes back the wave. The longer that 30k takes, this is kind of... Oh, no, I was going to say it's opening up an opportunity for Storm to invade and try and play into this, but no. Storm just takes what is going to be some pressure for top lane, and I think Storm just hearths out, defends at core. Yeah.
Did one flame stream by Blaze, and some people are choosing to Hearthstone and they get out on time. But Lunara, Lucio did not dare. There are some pings there. Of course, Lunara showed on wave. Dino's trying to get the Lunara, who does not have the level 20 Galloping Gate. But there is Blaze to protect her once again. All in all, though, it's fine. It pushes people a little bit top. 30k is thinking, are we going to get mid-fort during this, or will we empower our Punisher that has 32.2k HP? We're going to empower the Punisher. I'm not sure even Keep will be gotten here. 30k with the attempt to gank Lunara may have lost valuable time to pre-open up this wall and actually get the Keep. We'll see how it goes. There is a big red button.
Big red button applying some good damage. There will be the lockdown from Dino on the Sylvanas. The Keep will be falling in bottom lane. Parity found in the structural damage. Mephisto is going to get chunked heavily, but he's going to try and bait the Punisher to mid lane. It doesn't seem like it worked out enough because Punisher goes to core. What isn't going to work out is the end push for 30k. They back away. Punisher's cleared out. The map continues with 7-4 in kills. We're approaching 20 minutes into the game, and things are getting more and more tense in this Storm Esports versus 30k matchup.
Yeah, let's see. How do you win at this stage? You've both got one Keep. There's a triple catapult pressure in the center. Well, usually you win. Oh, Emerald Wind into Blaze, who jet propulsion into the bush. Is this a crucial mistake? Falling Sword trying to keep the Blaze alive. He gets silenced a bit from the edge of the Entomb. Meanwhile, Johanna is also in trouble. That's a great bunker. Everyone makes use of it. They're going to come out with 50 armor for a few seconds. That may just be the key. Bad Benny himself dropping lows, trying to get away from Lava. There's a huge Mephisto damage. Emerald Wind gets interrupted by BBJ. He's running after the Brightwing. Bad Benny low himself misses his Q in the wrong direction. Now Tychus gets picked off. Everything is falling like a house of cards here for 30k. That's 3 deaths. And Dino immediately makes the solo call to try and end via top. There's only one catapult. I don't think it's going to be enough. I do think it's the only chance. So let's see who wins the race of going for core.
Blaze has Hearth back to defend, and the jet propulsion with the collision course. Quadra kill goes over to our Storm Esports side. Sorry. I can see the in-game chat, and Dequaza just puts question mark after getting that kill. Durance of Hate not connecting. What does connect is the damage from Lucio. A solid pentakill for the members of Storm. They will run. Well, they're already at core. They're going to just rush through. Actually, Dequaza catches in because he wants to be on the end screen as well, but it doesn't matter. The GGs are called, and it's going to be game number 3 over to the side of 30k Storm. Oh my God, over to the side of Storm Esports. 30k falling in this third map, and it was really, really good back and forth. There was the really good start from Storm Esports. They built all this momentum, and then there was a little bit of a falter towards the mid to late game, and 30k was looking to bring back that momentum. You had some good siege. Dino was making some amazing split pressure plays, but at the end, it came down to one good team fight, and it's Storm Esports who take a victory, take a lead in this series, and we got Justin back in here to break things down. Got to get your thoughts on how that match went and just how you feeling after all that, because that was crazy.
Yeah, it's a fun way to end out that game. The side of Storm Esports controlled it mostly from start to finish. They did have that one little blip. The first objective, Storm secured. The second objective, Storm secured. But while this is happening, 30k is the first team that has recognized the enemy team's shrine control is too good, and they actually split. Although you could tell in the end it didn't actually win them the game because they did still lose via that team fight at the end, which wasn't even on a shrine. But 30k was staying in the game while losing the first 3 objectives because they were splitting. Dino on the Sylvanas traded bot fort for top fort when the second objective spawned. They were just always trading. And they were basically just behind the whole game, and they recognized, I think mostly because of that, Rutso on the Mephisto is just way too scary to deal with on the Shrine. I think that is the main reason, but you could tell that going into it, 30k knew we don't win most of the Shrine fights. So they were mostly just having Dino split push. Every time they tried to fight on the Shrine, like you can see in this replay, they would just get obliterated by Storm Esports. Their 5v5 is just way too strong, and it just caters, their draft just caters way too well for this Infernal Shrines map where it's so team fight oriented, which I think also just kind of caters towards what Storm is good at. And also the Emerald win from Yasu, it didn't really seem like it had a lot of value. It's very weird for Brightwing. I think that her kit is really enabled by having the blink heal. I think it's almost mandatory to take it. And you could tell that BBJ interrupted a lot of the emeralds that tried to be used. So almost probably about half the time that Yasu tried to use the emeralds, it would just get interrupted by BBJ anyways. And I'd say overall, Rutso and BBJ on Mephisto and Lucio played really, really well. I think they were kind of the carries for their team this game. IB Tings also played well. But at the end of the day, Storm Esports pulls out the win. I'm glad that they didn't get kind of robbed with that bit of an overextension in bottom. They did manage to pull it out and win a final team fight to end the game.
So when we look at the end of this game and we're considering the possibilities of the next map, Justing, do you think that Storm Esports has the momentum to shut down 30k in this best of 5 series, or do you think that we're only kind of getting a taste of the games to come? Do you think 30k can actually really roll things back in this series going into the next map? And I know we haven't talked about map, but I'm just talking like in a general sense in just the energy levels and even just the mental state of 30k.
It does seem like 30k has the momentum on their sides. You could hear their comms from game 1. It kind of sounded like everyone was sort of reading a sad book. And then in this game, the most recent game, you had comms like Lauber saying, we should start winning now. And other great comms such as that. Like, you could tell that the energy was up. And you can tell that their momentum has shifted completely from game 1 to this game. So I think that they do have it in their favor. But I don't think that 30k is by any means out of the series. 30k, I think, on paper, should still be the better team. So I think a lot of it comes down to sort of draft and then how they execute. And I guess also what maps they choose. I think that they're a little bit too predictable right now in draft, which is obvious. Lauber is making Johanna look completely OP. So maybe Haswabs should not take that Tychus first pick, even if it's available. I think they're a little bit too predictable right now in the draft, and Storm is taking advantage of that.
It is. I mean, I feel like Storm is definitely kind of figuring out exactly the playstyle of 30k, and I kind of want to ask the same question to you, Grubby. Do you think Storm could close it out on the next map?
It does look like it. They're kind of not following the traditional draft playbook, which is really annoying when trying to make predictions. Like, you're not supposed to go Johanna first. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, we were heaping on Scorn for anyone picking Johanna, period, because it just wouldn't do enough. There's a lack of initiative. But Lauber, he's always been a big fan of Johanna for years. I've been casting him for years. And he just really likes the hero, and it's working for them. And it's weird because I don't think she would get a ban. They're just taking it early so they don't have to reveal anything else and so that they can counter other picks. I think that's what it is. You don't show Mephisto early, that kind of thing. So really impressive, refreshing to see a different approach and to see such a strong Falling Sword application. Even if he Falling Sworded into the fountain once in that game.
Oh, sometimes you just want to be able to get a little extra healing a little faster, so you utilize that Falling Sword. But you talk about things that are... you talk about things that are refreshing. Yeah, he's taking a bath. Thank you, Justin, for saving me. But you were talking about things that are refreshing. You know what else is refreshing? Getting into a map that I do not believe we have seen today. No, we have not gone to Battlefield yet today. We actually had that banned out in our last series by Simplicity. And Justin, it's going to be Storm Esports choosing to take us to Battlefield, meaning first pick goes over to 30k, the losing side. Getting into Battlefield as we get into another Diablo-based map, what are your thoughts? I just want to get your thoughts on how this could potentially go for either side.
I definitely think it's a good thing for the side of Storm to go to this map. This is a map that is very team fight oriented, and it's very early game snowball oriented. It's not so much of a macro map. I think that in general, Storm tends to excel at team fighting and playing just better mechanical Heroes of the Storm against their opponents. They don't typically win through macro for the most part. It's typically just outplaying their opponents individually. So I think that this is a good map where they can do that. And also, 30K has shown to be a little bit hesitant to draft things like Diablo, even when it makes sense, like they did in the last game on Shrines. They picked it in game 1, but then they also over-prioritized Leoric on the last map. So I think that 30K's drafts have been a little bit weird. And Storm, I'm not expecting Lauer to first pick Johanna on this map. If he does, that's crazy to me, but this is probably Johanna's worst map. But I mean, if that's what it takes to counter the Hasselhoff's Tychus, I guess that's what it takes. But it feels like right now in general, Storm has a better understanding of just what to draft, and I think this map caters best towards their strengths as a team.
In the past, we have seen Lauber prioritize the Murden from time to time. I feel like this would be a great place to bring out that Murden Dwarf block at level 1. Those charges do not expire. It's not like, oh, you got 4 charges of block for 75 for 10 seconds. It's you've got 4 charges, and then you can, as Grubby had pointed out in previous weeks, you can kind of mid-max how your charges go. If you got the 4 stacks, you take 4 autos, and you've just been holding your Dwarf Toss, you can then utilize it later on. The Sledgehammer is a really good way to just burn through the Immortal, or at least amplify the potential race. So I personally love Murden on almost every map, but I feel like Battlefield Grubby is one of his best maps as a tank because he's just got so much utilization.
Yeah, I think Dragonshire and Battlefield are his top picks, and it's where I like to see him the most as well, for sure. And now with the Vala ban, the Junkrat ban, it's like they're saying, are there any other ranged assassins you guys like? Maybe you want to first pick Tychus? No, that's not as traditional on this map. Lucio, of course, is fantastic. There's walls everywhere. He can do a lot of 360 surrounding and skating. He's always got that movement speed, a way to escape and to go around the bend. And BBJ showed a really good Lucio, so it's a bit of a deny too. And remember, Yasu would have dodged the grenade and gotten the kill on Leoric.
What I actually am curious here is we're going to see a couple picks from Storm Esports is, could this potentially be a Garrosh pickup main tank for 30k because you have the speed potential, you go for the Indomitable, so Garrosh can kind of walk through the front line, toss someone from the back, and get these blow-ups, Justin?
You mean for the side of 30k?
Correct, sorry, I might have misspoke.
Oh yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good into Diablo, and they could pair that with the Tychus that they've shown before. It's really bold by Storm to take Diablo here, knowing that Haswab's on the other side. Is that... Oh wait, no, Haswab's not on the other... Well, yeah, he picked Hanzo. Very strange. Just really weird. Really weird to pick Diablo knowing that Haswab's is there and that Tychus is available. It seems like they're going to hold their tank pick for later. Garrosh is definitely good on this map. He plays really well with all of the fog of war that there is. There's a lot of places where you just don't have vision with all of the walls. And yeah, Lucio pairs up really well with the Garrosh to give him that move speed boost. Something I'm expecting is a possible ban on Medivh for the side of 30k. I think that it's very strange for Storm to prioritize the Diablo as highly as they did, knowing that things like Tychus are available. So I'm curious what Storm's plan is with picking the Diablo and Blaze so early on. And also, it's a little weird how both teams have kind of became allergic to Brightwing, aside from the last game, where they went Emerald, which was weird.
It's like they saw the Brightwing and they were like, yeah, you know what, maybe we're done with her for the series. But we actually have not seen a healer pick for the side of Storm. BBJ is known for the Brightwing in the past, and this is going to be maybe BBJ saying, all right, you know what, Yasu, you picked up my Brightwing, let me show you how to play it in this game. And then Yasu's like, haha, but I'm going to teach you how to play Lucio and avoid those grenades from Tychus. Either way, Grubby, we have some cool picks and bans so far, and got to get your thoughts on what's happening here.
Well, I think what's not happening is Emerald Wind. I don't think we need to see that again for the rest of CCL, most likely. But a very solid draft by Storm. No Tychus counterpick into the Diablo. So is there enough to kill Diablo? Well, they're kind of going to like try to ignore him. Maybe Lucio will try to disrupt Diablo combo, and then it's kind of a case of ignoring him, I think. And we've got that dive for the backline, which Lucio can follow, Tyrael Tracer can follow, Dahaka can follow. It's just up to, is Hanzo going to be safe enough against everyone else? Because he can open up with an arrow, and it's going to be from far away, and he'll try to follow up from afar. But he's not going to be able to dive in the same manner that everyone else is. Genji then, oh, I love that. Genji then is going to be able to single out. Oh, wrong pick, supposed to be Murky. We'll just restart. It was supposed to be Murky. Can we switch to Murky? No, but I think Genji is a fantastic pick because he's supposed to pick off that straggler, that Hanzo that maybe can't come along with the rest.
Just to be clear that it's not a cancel onto a pick, it's actually a DC. It is a legit DC. So there's no, it's not like, oh, we accidentally, picked the wrong hero or we don't have them available in our pool. So just little thing to note for anyone at chat wondering, because we joke about like, oh, we want the Murky or something.
Yeah,
but
it's not really
it is. Man, I wish just. Why can't teams be like more like Granite Gaming and give me what I want, regardless of their win-loss
trying to win
in season 2? Anyway, but let's. I mean, we can talk a little bit about what we had picked up there. I'm going to try and screenshot this so we can actually discuss this a little bit further, so we can remember what the picks were. And that last pick, Genji. I actually want to get your thoughts on this, Justin, because we don't see a lot of Genji, and this is kind of exciting for the side of Storm Esports.
Yeah, so Genji, this is one of his better maps, just because of the way that the fog works, how you can kind of play. You're always almost a threat. As long as they don't know exactly where you are, you can kind of be anywhere on this map when the teams are sort of just playing around those immortals in the middle of the map. Also, it is a bit of a soft counter to Tracer. Tracer has the quick auto attacks, which Genji Deflect really likes a lot. And then on top of that, Genji just sort of wins the 1v1 anyways. He can deflect the Tracer bomb. And he's kind of the anti-Tracer version of the Tracer. Tracer, Zeratul, and Genji all sort of have this interesting dynamic where they all do a similar thing. And there's sort of a rock, paper, scissors between those three. And this is just one of the matchups where Tracer does not like playing into Genji. It's kind of like playing against herself, only stronger in the 1v1. So I'm expecting that that's the main reason that they picked it. Also, Tyrael Dahaka isn't necessarily the most CC, which Genji really, really likes being able to have that freedom, not having the chance of getting randomly stunned by a Diablo or a Muradin and just immediately getting one shot. There's not a lot of CC on the side of 30k, so Genji's kind of free to do as he pleases.
Yeah, that last pick, Genji, it's exciting, and I didn't actually consider that. The deflect value into Tracer is extremely strong. 10 talent here, I feel, Grubby, is going to be a little telling for both these teams as well. And as we're getting our DC player back into the lobby, just to be clear with you all, we had a small DC in the draft. We're going to get them back into the lobby. We're going to get into the game in a second, but in that time, we're going to discuss a little bit more about what we can expect for this Battlefield of Eternity map, because Grubby, taking stock of both the drafts, but let's take stock of the drafts at level 10, and I want to get your opinion on who is stronger at that 10 power spike.
I think Genji's going to probably take X-Strike. I think Dragonblade gets countered a little bit by the mobility that 30k has, as well as the potential of Sound Barrier and Tyrael's shielding. I think he's going to want to use X-Strike either to finish off Hanzo or to reposition after deleting a Hanzo. He can also dodge Pulse Bomb if he's out of a deflect against Pulse Bomb. So I think that will probably be the pick. Diablo, do you go Lightning Breath or do you go Apocalypse? Apocalypse kind of hard to hit on many of the very, very fast members of 30k. So I think it might just be Lightning Breath to kind of create this zone of a bit of damage and some slows to kind of slow down the engage on his backline, as he's probably going to try to be ignored. He'll do like a backwards Lightning Breath to save his backline. That's what I would expect from those two. Many of the standard ones for the rest, it should be Sanctification, not Judgment. Can help a lot against the damage coming out from someone like Lunara, where it's guaranteed to instantly delete a lot of the damage that Lunara would have dealt during that. It's not even skill shots, right? It's like everyone is poisoned already. So Sanctification is already a huge shield into something like Lunara.
And I feel like you're mentioning the Judgment. If the Hanzo was maybe like a gray main, then maybe we could see Judgment, because then you could have Dark Flight or go for the Throat, and then Tracer's just providing a lot of sustained damage during all this as well. But it's going to be that Hanzo. So I do like the Sanctification. I would like, as much of a meme as Judgment kind of is, and Sanctification is such a stronger tool, I do like the idea of going like into an Omega like aggressive dive composition, Justin, with that Judgment. I think Judgment does have its value when you go into kind of this all-in single target blow-up, if you will.
Certainly could. I think it's a bit risky into Brightwing with her Z and just the ability of her to save in general. Especially they have the Lunara with 13, so I'm not expecting to see a Judgment, mostly for that. Being able to cleanse the stuns and anything from the Lunara with the Abolish magic at 13, that is kind of negates pretty much any focus on just blowing up one target at a time. So the Hanzo is going to really need to get big arrows if he goes for the stun to really set up, because if not, if they go for just one target at a time, Lunara can very easily cleanse one target. Brightwing can cleanse everyone, so as long as the Brightwing doesn't get hit, they should all basically be safe. And them having the Blaze Bunker makes it so that I think Storm's comp in a 5v5 is much easier to play. The Genji kind of changes the dynamic for them a little bit, so instead of just playing strictly front to back and just hitting the enemy front line, they're going to be, I think, maybe looking to take advantage of the Hanzo, who, well, 30k dives, they want to dive on the side of 30k with Tyrael and Tracer. I think that the Hanzo might get kind of left behind, because he can hit an arrow to start the fight, but he has no way of really contributing to the fight beyond that. He wants to play more at range, sort of how a Chromie wants to play. So I think that the Genji is probably going to be just sort of chasing whoever has the unfortunate pleasure of playing the Hanzo in the game. I think is going to just be playing sort of a game of cat and mouse where Genji is just hunting them constantly. And I think that's kind of a neat thing. And then while the rest of them are pretty self-reliant and they're pretty strong when they're all together, they have a lot of defensive tools with the other 4 members.
Well, we've talked at length about the potential for this game right now, and we are getting some readies out from both teams as we've got our player back into the lobby. So thank you all, everyone at home, for being extremely patient with us and waiting for everyone to get back into the lobby so we can get into this next matchup. It's an exciting one, and I think the big thing we didn't talk about, the 3 of us at least, is our predictions. And I gotta say, Justin, as we've talked at length about both of these sides, who do you think is going to win Battlefield of Eternity? Will this be a quick 3-1 for Storm, or are we heading into that map number 5?
Could go either way. I don't think it's a huge draft difference for either team. I think that Storm Esports composition is a little bit better and probably a bit easier to play. But 30k has pretty good poke, and if Dino is playing the Tracer, it's very hard to bet against Dino Tracer because he could carry the game all by himself. So I think Storm has the tools, but 30k might be real upset after losing those last 2 games, so we'll have to find out.
I also, as I put down a Storm Esports win, but I just realized something, all of this DC and everything, it was all a simple tactic from the side of 30k. They're just trying to cool down Storm Esports. Storm Esports on fire, and we'll see if it actually worked out. No, I'm sure it was a proper DC, but thank you, Justin, for the breakdown, because we're into Battlefield of Eternity. Once again, ladies and gentlemen at home, Twitch chat, thank you so much for being patient with us in the small delay that we had getting into this game, but we are here. We're ready to go. The action is in front of your faces, because we got Storm Esports in the blue trying to close things out through Battlefield. We got Lauber on the Diablo, BBJ on the Brightwing, Rutso on the Genji, Ivy Tings on the Lunara, and Dayquaza back on the Blaze. Over on the 30k side, we have got Liam on the Dahaka, Dino on the Tracer, Hanzo to be played by Hazuabs, Ed Benny on the Tyrael, and Yasu, as always, to Munkasteer through the Lucio. Grubby, I called for a Storm Esports win. I'm thinking it's a 3-1. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, I think Storm Esports, probably. I think they have a nice draft. Let's see if the Hanzo is being left behind in the fight thing is going to actually become real. Because I think we're all thinking it, but let's see how they actually play it. So here we see a dive on BBJ. He's dropping low. It's getting polymorphed. He's getting shadowed. Thank you, Lauber. First he overpowers him into his Brightwing, and then he shadow charges him into his Brightwing. But Benny says thank you, and I would have loved to hear those comms. I think a thank you, Lauber, is in place. We can all thank Lauber.
I'm a little concerned and confused, Grubby, by the UI in Heroes of the Storm, because I don't see an assist from Diablo in that kill.
Yeah, well, we'll just, I'll put a post-it note on my screen. Everyone at home can put a post-it +1. That's a 1-for-1 kill, though. It cost Storm Esports a little bit of initiative in the top lane, as Liam and Yasu and Bad Benny are all slowing down Dayquaza big time when they're trying to go top. So that's gate damage.
We got that first blood ready to go for you all. Actually, Lauber getting chunked right now. He does go down. It's a bit of a bloodbath to kick off this map, but Grubby, we got that breakdown, I believe, for everyone at home.
Yeah, let's look at that first kill again. And was it indeed Diablo that actually killed his fellow Brightwing, as we go to a replay of that? Okay, look at this, look at this. BBJ is getting focused. BBJ is safe. Now he's not safe. Now he's even less not safe. I appreciate Lauber was also using Tyrael to get away himself, and Tyrael dropped really, really low. So maybe it was a you or me kind of thing, and then more of a you than me.
I wonder if Lauber, as I was looking at that clip, and I'm going to pause on my thought really quickly because the fight's going to break out around this top lane camp. We do have BBJ getting hit with the Pulse Bomb. Yasu trying to put pressure onto BBJ, support versus support, but what's happening around the point is that Liam's going to get shadow charged again. The camp does go over to the side of Storm Esports, and Liam will fall. The dinosaur is dead. The thing that I wanted to bring up with Lauber on the Diablo in that engagement around BBJ is I feel like actually Lauber was trying to get the shadow charge into the wall on Bad Benny, and I wonder if would that stun, that little duration of stun, would that have been enough for BBJ to back away, or is it a moot point, Grubby? Curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe. Obviously, you always want to get that stun, and it may have just been enough. I think so, yeah.
That's a possibility. We may never know the answer. I'm sure the the critics and the analysts in Twitch chat definitely know the answer to this one, but we do have our Immortals ready to go. Top is going to be the Belith, and bottom will be a Larian. We are going to be seeing the race potential from Storm Esports start out immediately. Rutso trying to just cycle in some shurikens and some autos, but there's an immediate polymorph dive onto the Tracer. Dino taking a bit of damage, but BBJ in a precarious position will go down.
Lunara should go down as well. Can't get away from this. Fast and furious. 30k is moving on top of everybody. Dequaza now getting taken out as well. That's 3 kills. And all of this started with Lauber, Diablo, shadow charging Tracer, asking for help. Brightwing comes in, get the polymorph. Tracer drops to about 30%. Not truly in danger. The whole team of 30k was there. I don't think Storm Esports could follow up in the same way. I don't think Genji was on top of that Tracer. Had he been, she should have probably been dead, since she got CC'd for a solid 4 or 5 seconds.
We'll see some big burst ability as well as 7 talent tiers coming up, and that's going to be a big power spike for Lunara with her level 7. Bad Benny taking a lot of damage. Rutso does get the last auto. Agility away as well. No cooldown reduction from the Tyrael, as he does get 10% off his death timer from every enemy hero hit with his explosion, but there's a polymorph onto Tracer. She blinks away. Belith will be achieved to the side of 30k, and he will go into bottom lane. The immediate rush to go clear things out. IB Tings did take Nature's Calling at levels 4, and here should be the Choking Pollen for that big burst if someone is marked with 3 stacks of Nature's Toxin.
Nice move there actually by Rutso just now with this deflect, getting a lot of damage to the Tyrael. There is a lot of trickle damage. Lucio, don't tell me he took reverse amp. Yeah, okay, no reverse amp. But still, Lucio, Hanzo, Tracer, Dark Swarm. There's so much trickle damage for Genji to abuse, and there's so little counterplay to him. Almost to the point where you may expect a judgment coming out after all. I don't think it's the right call, but I could expect it just to try and take down Genji.
Phase shift into the top lane onto Dequaza. BBJ with the Soothing Mist as well, trying to back away, but Dequaza maybe saved. BBJ goes down. And Grubby, I just want, for the clarification for chat, why is reverse amp, a concern against a Genji?
It's like, is it 4 damage stacks? Oh, Rutso. Is it 4 damage stacks, 4 ticks of damage per second? I know it has a very high polling rate, let's say, and every single source of damage, no matter how much it is, will do a kunai, I think it's called. A kunai is like, what? Yeah, kunai. Like a small Japanese dagger. We'll throw a small Japanese dagger out of Genji's body into the opponent. So the more damage sources, the more damage he will reflect to somebody. So going reverse amp and actually using AoE damage ticking into Genji is just going to kill your own team, which can be really awkward.
Thank you for the breakdown. I just learned today that he throws something back. I thought it was just he deflects damage back, but quite literally the tooltip says he throws a kunai towards the enemy. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that little bit of lore about Genji. Okay, anyway, sorry. It's just little things like that. It's always fun to find. It's cool for me. Regardless, 10 talent here on the horizon for both teams. Objective phase will be soon. Rutso going to be able to get this Swift Strike away. 14 stacks on that level 4 questing talent. Diablo, full souls. We got Dahaka with 3 out of 10 stacks. Hanzo obviously done with his level 1, and we will see those 10s during this objective phase. I wonder, will the Immortals move to defensive positioning when we get to our second half, it's going to be exciting to see because this is already pretty close when it comes to the burn potential. What, like some 300-ish difference between the two teams when it comes to HP on the Immortals?
Yeah, very little difference as they go for Diablo. I don't think there was a quantum spike. What's his level 10 actually? Well, hold that thought. It is Sticky Bomb. Okay, so it's more of a CC. There's a Dragon Arrow only on Hanto. Hanto's trying to finish Lauber. He got a Dragon Arrow. There's a scatter. Really nice deletion by Hazu. He chose Diablo. He stuck to it. He got the kill. And he doesn't have any left behind issues right now, as this was more of a one-on-one for him. And the rest of his team kept busy to rest. Let's see if Ratso can ever get that jump on Hanto. For now, it's 7-3 kills by 30k. A little bit of a level lead. In terms of structures, though, they are behind. So structurally, it's that the Haka Blaze effect of... No, not the Haka. It's the... I don't know. It's the... Whatever. Storm is ahead in structures.
You're fine. You're very fine. Sorry, I was trying to look at the exact same thing, but another fight will break out. A huge drag will connect on to Lauber. He does not have Soul Sanctification, does come out, and the Immortal... well, he would have found the kill, but it's actually Hazuobs with another kill into Diablo. Yasu able to get the high five away to just be able to get away from any sort of incoming damage. Drag once again onto the Blaze, mitigates the jet propulsion. Liam burrows under the ground. Bad Benny getting low, but I don't think Bad Benny's in a bad spot whatsoever. The Immortal phase goes over to the side of 30k. Hanzo, massive arrow, but where's the follow-up damage? Where's the beef, Grubby?
It's like they defend ping him. They're like, yeah, cool, nice arrow. You proved that you can do it, but you know, none of us were remotely ready. None of us have any mana. Oh, Brightwing, no, not your fourth death, no.
Might as well get some wave clear while you're falling down, but that's gonna be Brightwing gonna get staggered out as the Immortal moves into top lane. Everything is seemingly going 30k's way, Grubby, with just kill after kill, 3 to 9 in said kills, and 30k. They're gonna move into bottom lane with Belith getting some decent damage in top, and okay,
Apocalypse.
All right.
Lag. That was lag.
Oh yes, yeah, Lauber's lag. He's not used to the NA ping, so he was expecting the delay on his heroic, but bottom lane fort will sit around 25 to 15% HP.
So I do think that Dino has brought a level of rotational speed and deviousness that hasn't really been seen as much in CCL. I think he's raising the level a little bit because normally all these constellation price soaking don't get punished that much. We've had some more stale games where the side laner just side lanes. And Brightwing falling into lockstep and just doing the habit of soaking the off lane, but he's in front of his gate, right? He doesn't have a blink away point. But it's a mistake that we casters wouldn't even mention if we don't see any icons on the map from the red team going for the Brightwing. But there you see a very lame death, where Brightwing does not have an escape point, dies again, and it's because they're there. Dino is there, Tyrael is there, and they get that kill. But it's been unpunished so much so far. I feel like Dino is getting this kind of value a lot with his team over and over.
I have a really important question, Grubby, to ask you. Why did Hazuobs miss an arrow? I thought EU never misses arrows.
Sometimes.
Oh! Really? I just didn't realize that they actually can miss arrows. I mean, people come into my stream all the time like, oh, lol, NA arrow.
I never miss arrows.
Oh, you're the exception.
I only go Dragon Strike. Got him!
Oh, that was good. Okay, now, Grubby, we're making jokes and everything right now, but do you want to get in some comms and hear how one of these teams is getting on?
Yeah, let's hear from 30k.
In we go.
He's here. Diablo's here as well.
On the
I
way,
free clear top for now.
I can't on the going on it. They're getting
you,
out.
you can.
I can dig soon.
Blaze is left side somewhere.
Care bot soon.
I run.
Blaze is showing. Can we?
Can we go?
Maybe. Blaze is not
Run.
here.
Oh, huge scatter.
Genji is strong too.
Diablo.
Wait, are we
Maybe.
fighting this?
I'm
The-
coming to you. Are you okay? Careful of the green.
Blaze top side.
It's kind of bad now, I think. Back up.
I'm kiting out. I dismount them. Wait, Tyrael
Are you
is...
okay? Tyrael?
I will arrow this now.
Arrow maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. Oh.
Out still.
Get out.
Soon. Okay,
It's good actually. It stays a lot.
Good. Okay.
But
It's
they
fine
will
like a
get
halftime
lost.
too.
We all refresh.
We defend second half, right?
Yeah,
Up,
I guess.
Upper bunker extract down. They used to.
I have ISO still.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Let's
should
fight,
look.
let's fight, let's fight.
You look for Diablo
You
again.
don't have dig door, right?
I have it. I have it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to go fast this time.
I'm looking. I don't know where it is yet.
Okay.
Okay, we see it.
I'm checking. Oh, that's Wisp.
Wisp is dead.
I walk to you
Left
guys.
side.
I'm fine. Diablo no Q.
Genji's racing right now.
Brightwing seed. He
No,
went
Blaze,
take
Blaze.
up-
I drag.
Diablo will
Let's-
live.
let's-
Okay,
That's good.
good.
Taking a lot of damage.
I'm running top now. I have dig.
I have to go tap again.
I will look for dig if I have to. I'm gonna clear the wave, then I'm gonna tap, then I'll dig maybe.
Brightwing is a low initial bot.
We could run Brightwing down.
Yeah.
Probably,
No?
No.
Right? No.
There's
We have
also
no
Wave.
eyes.
Wait,
I'm gonna dig soon. I'm looking.
Here.
I'm digging now behind them maybe. Yeah, I'm digging
Genji's
now.
getting chunk.
I'm on the tank.
Genji, no,
Genji.
deep
I have the
Genji,
Brightwing.
Genji. He's
No,
dead.
no,
Oh,
no,
it's huge.
Huge.
Break. Good.
I have
Kill.
tank.
Look,
Diablo,
Diablo,
I'm on
Diablo.
Blaze. I'm on Blaze.
We're on Diablo.
Finish Diablo. Finish Diablo.
Good job, guys. Everybody.
Yasuo
Okay.
needs.
Yeah.
Now
I'm
Diablo,
coming.
now Diablo.
I stopped his A-block.
Huge.
Good.
They will race though.
Yeah.
Just race.
someone
I
with it,
defend.
someone
Race.
with
I
it, someone
defend.
with it.
We kill them if they race.
Yeah.
We kill him.
Kill
He's a
him,
thing,
kill him,
he's a
kill him,
thing.
kill him. Oh, go on him.
Yeah, kill him.
I speed you.
Still kill him. He's dead still.
I'm
Surely.
tanking it.
I can't get there.
No.
Okay.
Do we got objective though? Where's objective?
I need gloves.
That's good. It's good.
I'm pushing on top.
The bot wave. Get it out.
I get it. Actually, it's bottom. You guys should go.
Yeah, but it's good.
Have a jungle suck.
You know what my biggest takeaway from all that, Grubby, was? Right at the end, I realized that Yasu took heavy casters, and I never see that because I was like, wait, why did Genji get stunned from a push-off? Oh,
Yeah.
level 13 heavy casters. Okay, wow. No one takes that, but almost
It was
getting the kill on
used
the
once
Genji.
earlier in the series. I'm not sure who it was, but it does get picked sometimes when you need an interrupt, like for instance on Genji's deflect. That's the only way that he can stop that. Another arrow coming in. It's pretty good. BBJ 139 health. Tracer and Lucio going in to confirm the kill, and they get it. Meanwhile, Tyrael Dahaka get the Diablo kill. This is looking real good for 30k. They've got the kills. The Immortal is plummeting in health though. Ivyting's forced to go back because of scatter arrows. A keep here is the minimum desire for 30k.
Oh, I think 30k are going to try and push past this, or at least that's my expectation with the two dead on the side of Storm Esports. Genji steps up, big deflect, Pulse Bomb will connect onto him, tries to use the X-Strike once again, but he actually doesn't even have it, and there's a stagger death onto Genji. Blaze is going to be the next target. Dino taking a lot of damage. The bunker does come down from Blaze. He is going to have some armor, tries to jump repulsion away, but it's going to be interrupted, and Blaze goes down. Right wing respawning. There's a Lunara to defend. Diablo's here, 78 souls on that Black Soul Stone out of 100, and the core is going to start taking a little bit of scratching on that shielding. BBJ getting chunked a bit, has to kind of play from the side. Phase shift onto Ivyting since we do have Lurker from the Dahaka. There's a dive onto Diablo. The core has lost 2%, maybe a little bit more. No, 30k are not going to continue sieging in through the bottom lane, but a win condition has been opened up for our red team.
Yeah, and those two extra kills, they maybe shouldn't have happened. It gives them extra experience. It gets them to level 20 earlier. Storm do, of course, have a bit of core HP to work with. They could have let it drop to 80% maybe and try to fight on core with all 5 again. Those two deaths definitely kind of running it now, it feels like, is Storm. Might be a draft thing, might be a momentum thing, might be 30k just pawning. The window of opportunity for Storm to mount a comeback is dwindling. 1 level is not a lot. With the way these Immortals work, objectives don't go that fast. There's the 50% point. That's plenty of time for 30k to farm level 20. So if Storm wants to do something, they got to get creative or creative. They need to get crazy or creative. And it looks like they're kind of just going to run in. Rutzer's like, yeah, I'll take the damage. They're going in on Tyrael. Is this the kill they need? There's a Sanct. But it's a defensive one. No counterattack.
90-second cooldown on Sank. The devastating charge stacks are finished out by Diablo. And I was looking at the stat breakdowns. We basically just like 10k difference in the experience. And most of that's found through all of vast majority of kills that 30K has over Storm Esports. Top lane has a huge wave that if left uncontested will take down Keep, front gate, and probably Keep, but here comes Diablo with another Shadow Charge. Huge arrow from Hazuabs. The scatter comes through, and Brightwing goes down to the Dahaka. Drag will connect onto Diablo just outside the bunker. Apocalypse popped by Lauber. He's mostly going to be able to defend with this, as Lauber is going to re-engage once again onto Hazuabs, but he's got the scatters. And that is a kill into Diablo. Dequaza goes down as well. Storm Esports are backs against the wall as the top lane has some massive push. Bad Benny, Liam, they're just going for Immortal. They want the Immortal to be able to push in through top to end game rather than try and raw end game through bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Just taking down those keeps. They already have a mounted wave pressure. Can be helpful. Yep, they're just going to get the Immortal. And then you can pretty much either go top to make sure that both waves are pushing, or you can just start going bottom, start hitting the core, and have the Immortal take down the top keep by itself. And if needed, the Immortal can even finish off the core. Even if your whole team wipes, it's like 30% left if there's too much of the health of the Immortal left. So it's an extremely comfortable position here for 30K going into this phase of the game. It looks like they will be softening up top while just letting the Haka push in bottom. The safe play, I'd say.
Immortal has roughly 14,000 shielding, 25,000 HP in totality, or I guess 39 in totality. But either way, let's talk about what's happening right now, because Dequaza tries to flank and he is gonna die. There's an arrow from Hanzo, narrowly missing a few enemy members. Lauber comes in, he's got his souls, he pops the Apocalypse, trying to make the big defense outside of the core area. X-Strike from Retso coming through. Our Observer trying to catch everything because there's just so many fights. Yasu finds the kill into Retso's Genji. So much is happening on our screen. Things almost going down to the Pulse Bomb. Belith still just actually losing his shielding, and the Lunara goes down. Ladies and gentlemen, I was hoping for at least one Game 5 today, and I think we're going to be seeing that. 30K will be able to equalize. Lauber trying to get back in the Hall of Storms is going to be denied. Oh no, he actually will be able to do so. But alone Diablo will be standing while Belith flies away, taking down the core. Grubby, we're heading into a map number 5, and I feel like these two teams, they're perfectly matched for this fifth map.
Exactly, they're proving it with the score. Sometimes one team looks a little bit more helpless than the other, like in this game. But and we had the same result, I believe, in game 2, where Storm was kind of kicking behinds. So a super close game and close series between, well, not a close game, by God, no. A close series between these two, as we get a very deserving 5th map coming up in a bit.
In a little bit, but in this time, I want to get Justin back into the mix and get your thoughts on what we saw on Battlefield of Eternity.
So I would say that overall, in all the games, 30K has looked a little bit better after this last match. I'd say that in Tomb, in basically each game, I'd say that 30K has, at least it hasn't looked as bad as it looked that game for Storm. Storm really got bullied in this last game, whereas all the other games, whether 30K was winning or losing, they had a lot more moments of it being close, it being even in the games that they lost. So I'm gonna say that 30K. I'm expecting 30K to take the series after a win being that dominant in that game. I think that Storm Esports draft was a lot easier to execute if they just maybe relaxed a bit, but they kept finding themselves in these awkward situations, sort of in the middle of the map, which is exactly where 30K's comp shines, where they had the aggressive just dive from Tracer and Tyrael, and they just kept getting caught just far from each other, split up. They just didn't seem to understand what their team did. Lauber, very aggressive on the Diablo in the early game, which is not really the time that he should be. I think that his build was extremely questionable. It was very weird. He took the W talents at 4 and 7, and then he went for the charge talents at 13 and 16, which with the APOC, which isn't really a cohesive build. And I did a bit of I was keeping track of Lauber APOCs that game, and he was a solid 0 for 6 in APOCs hitting. I don't think he hit a single APOC on a single member of 30K the entire game. So not Lauber's best performance. Also BBJ kind of inted in the game. Not the best performance for BBJ or Lauber on their respective picks of the Diablo and the Brightwing. That being said, Liam on Dahaka, Dino on Tracer, and Yasu on Lucio looking extremely strong on their respective picks. All three of them really, really showed up this game. And Haswab's, no matter what he's on, always just solid. And I was a little afraid of the Hanzo getting left behind when the rest of the team dove, but that wasn't really the case. It seemed like 30K dove with so many members, and just they dove so hard that there was no reaction available for the side of Storm Esports. It felt like they were just all on the back foot, and there was no room at all to take advantage of the Hanzo, who might be a little bit further away from his team. And Rutzo didn't really make the case for Genji here. I think 30K just looked angry in this last game.
30K very angry and able to equalize in this best of 5 series and take us to a 5th map. We had some amazing plays. Really, Yasu just playing an amazing Lucio, as we were watching back a few of those highlights from that last map. But speaking of last maps, we are getting ready for the last map of the weekend. We are getting ready to decide who is going to win this best of 5 series, but we're going to take a short little break, let these players relax a little bit, and get into a lobby and get ready for what our final draft could be. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot of HeroesCCL action coming back at you in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to HeroesCCL, presented by Wisdom, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing, and we are on the precipice of our final map of the evening. We've had a lot of great games today. We had that Wildheart versus Simplicity matchup earlier today, but we are in this best of 5. Last one of our week number 3. It's going to be Storm Esports versus 30K, and we've got map number 5 ready to go for you all at home, and I can get you all caught up as to how we got to Alterac Pass, the map chosen by 30K. We've had Towers of Doom, Tomb of the Spider Queen, Infernal Shrines, Battlefleet of Eternity, but we will close out this best of 5 series on a map, Justing, that will not totally take us 33 minutes, right?
This could be a 40-minute banger.
No! You were supposed to tell me it's a quick one, but yeah, no, you are very right. Alterac Pass can definitely go the distance, but it is a fun map. We don't get to see it a lot in HeroesCCL. It's banned out quite a bit. I'm actually trying to skim through my notes really quickly. I don't think have we had an Alterac Pass map this season yet? I'm trying to see.
Yeah.
I remember
Week one.
At least one or two.
Week 2, day 1, it was the 30K versus Oxygen. It was map number 3. That's where we had it. Otherwise, yeah, other than that, it's just
one of the
whatever.
Free wins of Wildheart against Storm was also on Alterac.
Whoa, free wins?
Yeah, one of the default win of Wildheart against Storm. They won 3-0 default. You still have to fill in 3 maps. And one of them was Alterac.
I feel like I remember Masquerade playing a Nubarak on Alterac. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
you are correct. You are correct, because Grubby had brought up how a Nubarak was one of the few tanks that can actually kind of early cap with those beetles, able to delay out the jailers. But with our history of Alterac Pass behind us, I want to get your thoughts, Justing, as the draft's already unfolding. We got a couple bans, and we're going to see a first pick from Storm.
So I would expect either Dahaka or Stukov, most likely from the first pick. Both teams are kind of, possibly Falstad, but that would be a little bit weird. Both teams have been kind of foregoing that Brightwing priority in place of Lucio, which there's the Lucio. This seems to me to be mostly the Yasu effect. Yasu is so strong on the Lucio, and BBJ is also good at Lucio, but Yasu is just known for it to the extent that the draft evolves into a first pick Lucio by both teams. If you're able to make the draft do that just because you're so good at one hero that's otherwise not that priority, that's a feat in itself. The Haka Falstad would be the obvious things. Okay, or just neither, I guess. So I guess they hate globals. They don't care about the globals on Alterac. They've got Hogger, which makes sense to do the camp, and they have a Nubarak to be able to cheese out the objective by spawning the beetles and then back cap. We'll see if Storm Esports does care about globals, because Dahaka and Falstad are both available.
I would honestly love both of them for the side of Storm Esports. I feel like you can grab them both, let Lobber flex on a tank, and then kind of float around on your last pick. And Justing, you got the big brain right now. You're reading off the script, and we'll have to make sure that Beckwin does not send that to you in the future, because we can't be that correct here, Justing. All right, we got to make it seem like we don't know some things, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why 30K picked their 2 picks. I was really expecting the Dahaka Falstad. I thought surely Storm Esports gets punished for their Lucio first pick, but we'll see. A Nubarak Hogger, that's good, but okay, if 30K does get Stukov, then I'll be even more confused. So Storm Esports, if you're a fan, okay.
gotta get your thoughts in here as well, Grubby. I'm sure you've got some thoughts or ideas.
I think Hogger has a very low win rate so far. I don't remember him winning much. Must be something like 25% or worse. He just lost again today, despite spamming the Hogger camp. I almost wonder if is he even still a good hero, or is he too unreliable? Would it be better to get Grayman or Jaina? We'll see. This should be a Stukov and maybe a Tychus. Oh, Brightwing. Brightwing hasn't had a lot of luck this game yet. BBJ 7 deaths with the Emerald Wind kind of fail. Brightwing again though, 30k, feeling good about it. And you know, if we hadn't seen what we had seen today, totally support the Brightwing here. It's a big map. It's great. Love the Brightwing. Hogger synergy. Sometimes people like to victimize Hogger, where they invade his camp because they know where he's going to be, and then Brightwing can come in and help.
Muradin Lunara. So we will see the lover Muradin Lunara coming in once again for IBTings, and I really like the Storm Esports draft. It's just that last game was such a shutdown from 30k, Justin.
Yeah, also Storm Esports in general, their comms are typically, they don't really cater towards this large map spread out style too much. If maybe IBTings, he's been getting the Lunara quite a bit here. Maybe he can get some split pressure alongside the Falstad and Dahaka. Maybe they can split the map like that. Dino with Li Ming, that makes things a little bit more scary for 30k. I do like that 30k has Anubarak, Hogger, Tychus. These are all strong core things that can one-shot the front line of Lauber. Lauber might be in kind of a tricky situation here. He's going to get really CC'd up quite a bit when he goes in. So they might just be looking to kind of just beat up Lauber as much as possible on the side of 30k. That being said, Storm does have better globals. Brightwing, while she is a global, isn't really the ideal global for split pushing. You need her to be with the team. So it's a global, but not really in the functionality that you'd want from one. Overall, I think both drafts are relatively well balanced, or like pretty even. I think Storm Esports probably has a slight edge just because they do have a much stronger double global and much more means to split push. But I do foresee if Lauber is as antsy as he was in the previous game, he could really int very hard into the side of 30k. They have a lot of CC and they have Haswabs on Tychus. So it's a toss-up, I'd say. Maybe slightly 30k favored, but it's almost 50-50.
Yeah, that Dino diff coming in with the Li Ming is kind of leading me to want to vote for 30k, but I'm going to call for a Storm Esports win. I think they got this. Justin, thank you for the breakdown, as always, because we have got Alterac Pass, the final map of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, get your gambles in. I better see some big bets when I watch back this stream, because we got Lauber on the Muradin, IBTings on the Lunara, BBJ on the Lucio, Dequaz on the Dahaka, and Rutso on the Falstad. Over in the red, we're looking at 30k. Hazuabs on the Tychus, Yasu on the Brightwing, Liam on the Hogger, Bad Benny on the Anubrak, and the big bad Dino on this Li Ming. I have given my prediction, Grubby. We've heard from Justin, but I gotta hear what your thoughts are on this Alterac Pass map draft and setup.
I think Storm is actually going to take it. And yeah, I think they're going to take it. I think they have the better draw for it, and I think they have the heroes that fit them. And I'm not convinced that Hogger is as useful anymore as he used to be. My results certainly plummeted with him after basically maining him for like 100 games. I kind of stopped playing him. He's very good. He brings a lot, but he's not always as reliable. So far, it does help a little bit to get some damage on Lunara. And Dahaka and Dino's Ming is, of course, incredible. Let's see how it goes. Predictions are one thing, the gameplay is another. Hasuops, run and gun, dodges the Stormbolt, seeking the safety of the minion wave. So that means he was in a good position.
We already have Lucio and Lunara in position for the, I was going to say objective phase, because, I mean, we all joke about it. This is the real objective of Alterac Pass, much like on Hanamura Temple. And you don't want to push the go-kart around the map. No. You want to get that giant Genji, the Sentinel camp on Hanamura, and that's your real win condition. Liam gets an awkward bounce at the end, but he still gets the vast majority of the camp quickly. And I think Liam actually, he gets it a little bit faster. But you and I, Grubby, have talked about this extensively during games, and I know Justin's brought some good ideas into this as well, or some good factors as well. Sorry, just all I can think about is pizza after the stream today. So either way, it's the delay on this camp. I think it's actually going to be beneficial for Storm because they can defend on a safer side of the lane and then push their side, Storm Esports, null camp into the face of 30k.
You can see that right here, right? There's a punishment for capping a few seconds earlier because your Hogger camp, they both do each other the armor debuff, but there's towers helping on one side. They did 0 structural damage, which is the key, as opening up the map in the middle and doing structural damage allows you to eventually take the objectives. Both objectives are too close to the middle lane to really be able to reliably take it as the aggressor if your opponent still has mid wall. So that's the purpose of these Hogger spams. And the Hogger camp stayed alive a little bit longer for the side of Storm, which should normally give them a chance to have superior odds in one of the side lanes, as they're allowed to leave earlier. That's not how this works out. Dequaza was big time threatened. Larber came to his aid actually and managed to help protect a bit there. But normally, yeah, if you kill the Hoggers earlier and then you go to the side lane, you're supposed to have a good odds. They're trying to do that to Tychus a bit in the bottom, but no advantage was gained by Storm. Rotation by 30k was a little faster.
Rotations are looking good for Storm Esports on the experience side of things. No kills yet, but just a little more experience quickly over to our blue team. Augur with the nice Hog Wild, and Dino just to speed up the camp grab.
Okay.
This could be... Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah, this is the second part of capping early. The first cap early usually hurts a bit as you're slower to clear the Hogger camp. But if you keep up the same cadence, the same absolutely large tempo, then it starts going out of control. Especially when Storm shows up a bit late on the second Hogger camp timing, like they did now. Now, the Hogger camp is going to push uncontested into gate, which is the dream scenario. As long as you keep getting 5-second leads, the first one, it sucks. Second one sucks. Third one actually starts to get value. In this case, the second one. Look at this, structural damage. Every little bit matters. But Yazoo is going to be left alone by himself. I don't actually remember how that happened. I was thinking so much about the Hogger camp. Nice return kill, though, by Dino.
I'm sure production will be able to get us a nice breakdown of all of these kills, because we've just seen 3 kills in the last few seconds. Can we make it 4? There's a drag onto Dino, push off from BBJ, and it is going to be a solid triple kill to the side of Storm Esports, only losing their Lunara, but she was critical for that kill into Brightwing.
So that probably gets Storm the objective here. There is a bit of interrupts. Tychus used his grenade. There's an impale. Misses. Ow.
I actually was surprised that impale missed BBJ, because it's just like an inch to the side of his foot, and BBJ was like, oh, look at that. There's a spine on the ground. I'm good.
Now the Hogger camp for Storm actually pushes in and gets the entire gates and towers. That's a fallback point that 30k needed to potentially defend this objective. That's huge combo into Falstad. Wow.
BBJ is going to amp it up. He's got the reverse amp. There will be a Storm Bolt into the face of Bad Benny, and the cap on the point at 6.9 seconds left to go. A very nice cap from the side of 30k. And I believe, Grubby, we have got that kill replay for you to break down for all of us.
Yeah, let's see what happened with Brightwing there. Yasu was left behind in the mid, and it's kind of started at the beginning of all that. We don't see how he was left there. He certainly was. There's kill number 1. In came the return kill on Lunara by a very nice impale of Bad Benny and Dino hitting his shots. And Hogger left behind. Then good money was thrown after Bad with a great drag tongue of Li Ming. Could have let Hogger go, but they couldn't let him go. The more kills were gained. Now, 6.9 seconds left on the clock. Storm Esports can get it almost at any time. And keep in mind, there are still a few grunt defenders, so there's a little bit of a warning for 30k to protect their prison camp.
For anyone that's new to Alterac Pass, I'm going to hold off on that explanation for a second, because the fight might break out. We do have a drag looking in the bush for Hazoab's. Brightwing in a bit of a flank position right now, and the pressure is applied to the main 2 tanks, or the bruiser in the tank, as Rutsu gets hit with a big combo from Dino, and the channel comes through, and the first objective does go over to the side of Storm. So first objective spawns 2 defenders at a time, and it's a 30-second channel. Second objective, 40 seconds of channel time, 3 jailer defenders. The third objective and onward will be 4 defenders and 50 seconds of channel time, and that is the scaling of this objective. It does not go beyond the 50-second necessary mark, nor do you have more than 4 jailers at a time on that third and onward objective phase. But we're here in our first one. The Alliance Cavalry is here, and oh my god, Grubby, the read from BBJ with that high five.
It's so sick. Great reflexes, some FPS reflexes there, getting that save. Now we have the generals pushing in top and bottom still, Li Ming and right wing trying to take this down. Rutso looking to hit a hammer just through the minion wave. Very, very docile, not threatening anyone back there. Stormbolt on the Nubarak. Lauber jumps away. And that's about half a fort in damage. In the top lane, meanwhile, we have Dayquaza taking a lot of damage from Liam.
Liam won't find the bounce that he's looking for, and Hazuab's backs away. We haven't talked a lot about talents, Grubby. We have the 10s. We can see them at the top of our screen. They're pretty standard. Reverberation is a cool adaptation for Lauber because you increase the attack speed slow of Thunderclap from 30% to 50% and the duration from 2.5 to 3.5 seconds. You also get a cooldown reduction of 5% off of your heroic ability, so you'll have more avatar forms for Lauber. The big thing that I want to note with this is that this is a great way to deal with the sustained damage of Hazuabs on this Tychus, because Hazuabs wants to stand still and just throw bullets at your face, but if you're reducing that attack speed, that might be beneficial to mitigate some of the the Hazuab's value, but let's see how it actually works out, because there's a lot happening on the map in a macro sense.
It feels pretty clunky too into reverberation with any hero, because you have a certain cadence to your movement, and that big of an attack speed slow, it just kind of gets you standing around trying to do the next auto and then nothing comes out, and it feels weird. And it's nice to get his avatar back earlier as well with every W.
Oh, yeah.
Fun little moment there on the boss. If it leashes 3 times and goes back to its original position because it loses vision of heroes, or the heroes go too far, it's insta full health.
Yep.
That's what happened there. Li Ming and Brightwing started trying to cap the boss. Storm showed up. 30k disengaged. Storm tried to take it from there and kind of damage it, see if anything fruitful would be born from it. But he got leashed and they were like, alright, never mind.
Dino just going to get some free siege. There's a hammering out from Rutso. Dino and Yasu will be able to back away. 13 talents here about to be achieved for the 30k members, and our objective phase will be spawning just in time. Tychus in the top lane with a Nubarak floating around. Lunara over here as well. And here's the other factor around these jailers that if people don't know. If you clear out the jailers but you don't go immediately for the channel, the jailers don't respawn. Not until you have that channel. So right now, you saw Lauber step forward. He cleared out those jailers, but he is going to get Omega punished for even doing that. They actually didn't get all 3. There's one over still on the right-hand side with like 2 HP. And very nice just shut down into the Lauber Muradin. He also did pop Avatar. That's going to be a 60 or so second cooldown. Still has 20 seconds on his death timer.
It's great play there by Dino. He had the perfect wave of force timing, interrupting the dwarf toss. You can see by that 75 block charges that Muradin had, the little jump attempt was perfect timing, even on this kind of ping, and just Dino owning on Li Ming again. And of course, he was kind of by himself out there, Muradin, but he's still a chunky target to pick up. 30k did very well. So now they've got the channel, 10 seconds, 8. We've got only squishes here. Dayquaza coming in, and there is actually not the interrupt. Rutso got stopped at the 99%.
Lauber's going to go for the same channel. We do have the camps actually stalled out. There was a shockwave used by Hogger as well. Actually, I didn't think that they had that channel. I thought we were going to have the announcement of the Horde Cavalry coming into lanes, but that's not the case. Things are delayed out at 3.7 seconds. Lauber going for the channel on the right-hand side. That lone jailer will be interrupted by BBJ. No interrupt onto Lauber from this Nubarak. Bad Benny not able to get the Impale over the wall in time, and now it is a 30k defense around this objective. No 16s. Storm Esports could have that trickle as Lunar gets a little bit of soak into the mid lane, Grubby.
Yeah, and none of the lanes are imbalanced, and there's a lot of emphasis here into trying to win the objective, because Storm feels if they go away for too long, they can just get sniped out from under their feet. They are close to 16 though. They are very close to 16, so they should like to make a big play after the next few waves. Nubarak is going in mid to threaten Falstad. Rutso has completed the objective. Lauber jumps in. Dino, he's in a very bad spot, but he does blink away. Here could be a big gust!
Cocoon will connect onto Falstad, but he gets the flight. There's going to be some damage over time from the Lunara onto Dino. Dino trying to back away. Yasu has very low HP. Dino gets hit with more damage over time from this Lunara. Yasu has to Hearth back for full HP. I'm assuming the Brightwing has phase shift, and they do. I actually want to point out a really, really big factor in how this engagement worked, because I actually saw on the minimap that the Anubrak, Bad Benny, had utilized his burrow to actually put some pressure onto Rutso on that mid lane push, and so since Burrow was on cooldown, that was the perfect timing for Falstad to go for that flight, because there was an Impale, but the Anubrak wasn't even in position to be able to do anything. So I just like the read, like the play, like the calls from the side of Storm Esports. And Grubby, we haven't gotten any comms for this game. Do you think now's a good time to maybe listen in on Storm?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's see how they get on.
In we go.
They're on bottom.
I'm super fine.
Yeah, he's fine. Just care. I don't think we want to fight into this.
Okay.
Play it slow.
Yeah, we're playing slow. Anub got fucked there. So.
Alright, Brightwing doesn't have Ice Block this time, Lover.
They're coming on me, but I'm again.
We're safe. Hauger's running top. I'm coming. Good looking.
Yeah.
I'm coming, Ritsu.
Driving has C. Up.
I mean, top fort's dead. I think we just go pressure mid.
Yeah, mid.
Can you come, Quad?
They have everything. They're all mid, I think. I really want to defend the mid fort, actually.
I'm pushing bottom.
I don't think we can get
Yeah,
this.
it has to go bottom.
Yeah?
Alright, just chill mid then. I'm gonna catch the top soak.
Chill
It's
mid,
getting
chill
killed.
mid. We Hogger's bottom, though. They see
gonna
lose the
round.
top, maybe?
Do you wanna go mid?
Yeah, we have it. I can jump stun, maybe. I can jump stun here, Dino. I got him.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I'm sexy.
Okay.
Oh.
Nice, save them.
I wanted to cast.
Get out.
Yeah.
I think you 10-seconded Cocoon, but I don't think you full seeded it.
I'm
going camp.
Boss.
Okay.
I think they might go top boss. But maybe not. If they're coming, we shouldn't fight.
I think they're coming. Do we sit in a bush?
Oh, once again, Grubby, I had to cover my mouth because Lobber's comments about it just... I'm sexy? It's just way too good.
What about, like, nice save?
Yeah. The gust was a little awkward there, I'm not gonna lie. Not sure why we saw the gust at that, because it seemed like Dino... Yeah?
He wanted to angle them into the corner cubby hole of the outside of the gate, but instead he ended up saving someone, pushed them through the gate. Oops.
Yeah, Dino was threatened, but will not fall. Top lane fort is going to go down into in favor of 30k. Sorry, I was looking at Lobber in the rotation because he was kind of setting up for a flank. The flight from Falstad, I believe, is off a cooldown. If you wanted to look for the angle, Storm Avatar form will be used. There's the gust into the wall. It has a slow on it, so there's not the best, but it does have a slow at 30%, decaying over time. Hazuabs does go down. Lobber dwarf tosses away, has that dwarf launch for some increased range. Meanwhile, Grubby, the big conversation that we haven't had is bottom lane pressure of boss. And with that kill into Tychus, it's a double boss play with objective phase up in 19 seconds. The macro from Storm Esports looking a lot more healthy as BBJ accidentally steps into the stun.
Yeah, but he's gonna be fine. In a good position. The boss here got half a keep. Now they're getting the top boss. Storm is looking like they might be putting themselves in a winning position. Now, Alterak, as we've said many a time again, it doesn't end easily. The core has 60% shield, which gives them immortality. Kill one keep and it has 40% armor. And if you kill two keeps, it has 20%. No keeps left, 0% armor. And that armor, that's the deceptive part. Perhaps the core has a little bit health than on other maps, 25,000. But with 40 armor, that is so much extra survivability. And because it self-regenerates, there's no silver medals for trying.
What about Gladiator's medallions? Are there any of those?
Sadly not. I love that. There's a few things I miss a lot in Heroes of the Storm. It's overpowered Release Maiev, it's double support meta, and Gladiator's medallion. And I'm sure everyone is with me when I say these.
Right? Oh, you probably miss on-release Li Ming as well, right?
Yep. Ass of Johan, loved it.
Sorry. Misheard you for a second, but no,
It's a Dutch accent thing.
Yes. It was the accent that I accidentally. I think it might have been my headphone cable. I might have to replace that. There is going to be a delay on the channel for this.
It did look a bit damaged when I saw you on the webcam, so you might want to look into that.
I'm gonna have to look up Sennheiser.
Yep, no problem. Sponsor CCL, by the way. Thank you, Sunrise. So, Storm Esports looking to now use the objective and push in, and I think bottom keep should be a guarantee. And 30k will try what they can to keep the mid and the top alive. And the question is, will Tychus wait for big red button? Yeah, he should. He can big red button. I think you want to do it instantly, because there's even a chance you get the cooldown back on the core. Is there going to be a big red button? Will even help armor him a bit against that. Yeah, there we go. Against that poison damage. So this keep is going to get saved pretty easily. Who's going to use rewind first? Is it going to be Murden or is it going to be a Nubarak to try and get some kills? Keep is down as predicted. Top general. Wait, are they even going to get any keeps? Okay, they're going to use the top general as a distraction to try and push in mid. But the defense is fierce by the boys of 30k.
The Commandeer Odin should expire fairly soon, and I think the defense has been well played and well utilized by the side of 30k. I say this, but as I take stock of the 10 talents, the heroics, and everything's off cooldown. A drag will not connect from Dayquaza. He does get his level 1 enhanced agility finished out. Dino chunked to 50%. That's a lot of damage over time that can be healed back up. And, okay, an objective phase. It gets a bottom lane keep. Gets a
weak.
Yeah.
Bottom lane keep and like 20% of mid keep. I guess it did get walls, right? There were still walls.
I would say this. It's gotten a lot better value than a Triglav Protector than we've seen today.
Yeah, that's true. Triglav, 1 out of 10. This objective, by this time, it's the what objective? Was this the third, the fourth?
That was the third.
Give it like a 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. But they can get pretty serious. If there are no keeps left, you get a level 23 triple general, that's pretty much just lights out.
Well, the next objective phase will be bottom, not too far off. And while we have this lull here, Grubby, I gotta ask you a question. This is an important question pertaining completely to the broadcast. What's your favorite objective phase in Heroes of the Storm? What
the
map?
Favorite
like
objective, huh?
Yeah, like Blackheart or Curse or Hanamura.
It's not Sky Temple or Blackheart, where there's zero interaction of teamfight.
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because I was trying to think as well.
Tomb of the Spider Queen, I think, is pretty solid since it gets weaker as it goes from further. So there's actually a lot of planning to do in where you want them to start. Do you want like a synchronized arrival, or do you want a staggered arrival? But then, yeah, I think that one is pretty interesting. This one is cool though, because you get crits. You get those crit markers every time, right? When you're standing in the circle. I do like this objective. I like this map in general.
I think, like, in comparison to, like, Garden of Terror or Alterac Pass or even Tomb of the Spider Queen with similar mechanics in the sense of, spawning something into each lane, I would heavily agree. I think this map kind of gives you the most value and push potential. It's just those cores, the keeps really defending the core, so the ending of the game is a little more technical on this map as well, so kind of interesting. I don't know what the Wisp is doing. It's kind of like vibrating for a second as the...
Yeah, I don't think there's a patrol function for Wisp, so he was actually doing that manually. That's insane.
Could you... I wonder if you can, like, shift...
APM.
I wonder if you can, like, shift Q the E in there or something, but here comes the wind tunnel from the fall side. The phase shift from the right wing will connect onto Hazuabs. He's still getting pushed into the wall. Some healing denial is coming through with the mixing fire of the high five. Hogger goes for an insane bounce, and it's really not working out for him. The very low BDJ is going to be on the right side, and actually Shockwave is going to be the redeemer for Liam. Here comes the dwarf toss of Lobber. Dino trying to make some plays. The no control value was attempted. It doesn't work out. It's a 2-for-1, but the big red button Commandeer Odin has zoned back Storm Esports.
Yeah, a lot of poison coming in here as well. I'm looking at Ivy things. He's got 35,000 hero damage, the most on his team. 1 death. On the other side, it's Tychus with the most, 43,000 damage, with Liming trailing at 36. That's a double... Oh, what the... Can we see that again, production? I just sneezed and missed it.
Hold on. I think I have the breakdown. I think I have the stat breakdown. I'm going to try and look. Oh, no, I can't look at the stat breakdown when Lucio's dead. I was trying to see how quickly and how much damage he took there.
I see it. I see it. You took 2,381 damage in 2.6 seconds, but it was like 20 damage. No. Actually, it's not that long. Actually, it's 0.1. It's 0.1 seconds. 711 from 711 from Arcane Orb, and then 1670 from Magic Missiles, with only 125 overkill. So with it was insane. Let's look at it again. 2,500 damage, guys, in 0.1 second. Let's look at it. There we go. Lucio, and then he used Wave of Force to push him in as well. That was so clean.
Mirror ball value. Oh yeah, please.
Lucio was going to dodge it, and it was not even on top of his body. The Wave of Force used to push him in as he was trying to escape. That's sick. The overkill was only 100, so it was super close.
Just watching someone get deleted is always fun. Like it's always a good laugh. But boss to be gained in top lane. BBJ and the rest of Storm Esports want to stall out this channel, and they will try to do so. Commandeer Odin does come down from the Tychus. The big red button will interrupt this channel. This should be the Horde Alliance going over to the side of 30k this time, and this will be our fourth objective of the game. Top lane does have the boss coming in, and Yasuo will be doing his best to defend. Top lane Keep going to take quite a bit of damage. I'm going to look really quickly. The boss deals 900 damage standard, 900 damage into structures, 900 damage overall. And we'll see, can the members of Storm make the big defense?
No.
Does this boss get top lane Keep for free?
Yeah. I mean, it's not free, right? But
yeah, true, because you did lose the objective phase.
I think if everyone insta-ported, they could have actually saved it, ironically.
But that is, I know there's an objective phase and the map is being pushed in for 30k, but I feel like that is still a potential win condition for Storm Esports with the core on the side of 30k only at that 20% armor.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was...
No, it's okay. You're doing some caster math. I understand. It happens.
Yeah.
Grubby's got to do the big math for me because my job is just to talk a lot and let Grubby give us all the really good details. So sorry, I didn't realize that we were doing some calculations in the background. But I want to point out that we do have Dahaka in the bottom lane. He does have Brush Talk off cooldown. Could utilize that to get in the flank position as he's trying to clear out this cavalry. But I feel like Dahaka Dekwaza, he needs to Brush Talk at some point. He needs to do something to get in this backline. Otherwise, this Keep goes down for free.
So they actually want to save that forward so badly, and it doesn't work. So now he burrows in. Liam is right there. Wait. You can't interrupt Brush Stalker, can you? And he didn't. No, I thought he was burrowing already, but he isn't.
No, it's not even on a 10-second. Commandeer Odin from Tychus will be used. I think Liam just has the read on the bush, and maybe this is just a cognizant decision from Storm saying, you know, I haven't seen Hogger in a while. Maybe he's waiting. Actually... Or they're just like, they're fine with giving up the Keep and they just want to counter push bottom lane, which you got the Reaver minions consistently up against periodic Reaver minions, and that's good push potential for for the side of Storm Esports.
Yeah, I think Storm was fine losing that Keep. They could actually bring in the Haka and try, but then it's like a full team fight in front of their core, right? It's actually really smart. You think that when it's closer to your base, it's good, and in an RTS, it would be, because your reinforcements are coming in earlier. But 65-second death timer means you are not getting any reinforcements. So in moments like these, guys, it's actually much safer to fight in the enemy core than in your own core, or at least near it. Because if you win it, you end with 5-second travel time. But if you lose it, enemy needs 25-second travel time. That means core lanes become a lot more marginal. So Dahaka didn't want to burrow in there. Let's see if this Gust is going to be good. He gets instantly polymorphed. Does get the high five from BBJ so that he can barrel roll away. But that was a very scary move. He actually does a Gust out of shit. As they try to get Hogger.
Rewind.
And they kill him.
Yeah, the gust from Rutzo, I was like, that's not a very good gust, and then I realized, this was actually phenomenal of a gust because they got the Hogger up against the wall, and then Lauber was like, cool, I got Rewind, Stormbolt into the face, Rewind, Stormbolt again, and the burning value from this level 13 Bronzebeard Rage, it is going to be Storm Esports with a 1, 2, 3, 4 kills, and this is Storm Esports running to the through the bottom lane. Dino will go ahead and Hearth and try and make the biggest defense he's ever attempted, but he is going to get collapsed. That's going to be 30k, losing all 5 members. And ladies and gentlemen, the Storm Esports roster, I wouldn't say it's a reverse sweep, but it was a phenomenal back and forth series where we had some of the best Heroes of Storm action today on this broadcast. Loving what both these teams were able to do, and I hope to see them further down in the season, whether it be into the gauntlet phase or into our season playoffs, because Grubby, this was such a fun best of 5.
Yeah, it was so good, and it's nice to see our Canadian player Lauber winning his series from this position. Storm wins their first series. We knew they had it in them. Very awkward final gust there by Rotso, or attempt, I should say. He got insta-polymorphed by Yasu. But I really think Lucio and Lauber saved this one. Ivy Tinks with the big damage, Lauber with the pure, accurate storm bolts and the finishing blows, and Lucio was just insane. That high five, he knew Rutso done goofed. And then he's chasing everybody down, popping in Tychus into his team, getting a nice high five on Brightwing as well to reduce her self-healing to herself. Great kills and a great game by Storm there.
Yeah, we got Justing back in the mix as well to break things down for us after that amazing Alterac pass map.
Yeah, I think Grubby said it well, that Lucio and Murden were the big playmakers that game. From the previous game, those were the two that I said kind of ran it down on VOE. So it's nice to see that BBJ and Lauber give it, but also BBJ and Lauber take it away in that last game. They really were the difference makers. So it's cool to see those high impact players, whether they're on it or not, but they're always making an impact, whether they win or lose. That's the high variance that, sometimes you need that to win a game. You need to, be able to take those risks, which they did. And this game, it paid off, and it secured them the win. It did all come down to that final fight where Rutso flies in and looks for the Gust, but Brightwing's got the poly. But they don't actually need that. The Gust was not even needed in the end. It mostly felt like Lauber just kind of got to do whatever he wanted. I think Bad Benny kind of got tank diffed this game pretty hard. In general, it felt like Bad Benny didn't get much value on the Anubarak. I think they probably picked it early on with the anticipation that they were going to be able to get a lot of objective out of it, like Masquerade did in his match on this map, but it just wasn't there. The value just didn't seem to be there at all. Lauber just got way more on the Murden, and IB Tings, the unsung hero of this series, playing the Lunara pretty much every game, I think. Just you didn't really see it. It's hard to tell, but Lunara went to Q talent at level 4 with the level 7, and it's nearly invisible to watch, but people are just getting half shot randomly from their perspective, almost an entire screen away. So everyone on the side of Storm really brought it together in this game 5, and it was deserved since they got every single objective up until that last one. So it's good to see the team that is getting all those objectives closing out the game at the end.
It was a well-closed-out series, game, and matchup from Storm Esports, and I'm sure they're very, very happy with the victory that they were able to achieve today. 30K, a strong team, but definitely not like a strong team, not bad by any means. Just I really think you're very right. I think there was a little bit of a tank diff in this matchup, and I believe we have got the main tank, the Canadian player, on the line right now. Lauber, can you hear us, my friend? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I can hear you, of course. So yeah, it was a nice win. Managed to pull it through. 5 mapper, For the BOE game, we felt like we don't want to win the 4th map. We want to give the audience more of a show. So me and Kevin decided to just run it down on purpose. Yeah. That was.
Oh, yeah. Lauber, you are such a sweetheart to all of us here at HeroesCCL. Your sacrifice in this best of 5 series to take us to a game 5 is very, very much appreciated. My bingo card is super happy about it. So I don't have any questions at the time, but I want to pass it over to Justin for a question or two.
Yeah, so I've got 2 questions. One, why don't you just pick Murden every single game? That's my first question.
It's because I gotta save my fucking. Oh, whoops! I keep swearing in this interviews, but it happens. I had to save my team all the time, so I need Falling Sword just to save them so they don't run it down. You saw that on the Tomb and the Infernal game. So yeah, I like playing Merlin, but if you just pick him without any thinking, sometimes you just get shut down and you can't do anything. Or the enemy team gets a tracer or something, and then it's really hard to play. But I love playing Murder. It's my most played hero. So, yeah, sure.
All right, and then my second question: what does the build you went on BOE? What is it supposed to do?
Okay, so back a long time ago, like a year or 2, I always used to go this build because it was popping in Storm League. But now you only see Lightning Breath Diablos with full W build. because it's like just the easiest and it always gets value. My build used to get a lot of value in Storm League and in competitive games back in the days, but things change, you know. Some heroes gets really annoying, and now every range carry is like good into every tank. So I was thinking, oh, they have squishy guys, I can kill them, I can bring back the old build, but yeah, clearly that belongs in the trash.
Such a boomer.
What?
Yeah.
Grubby.
Remember that
I'm getting
good
old
times
25,
when
you know,
that build
holy
worked?
moly. Remember when old Diablo, when you just one-shot anybody with percentile health damage? That was the good Diablo.
I remember that one.
Now a Tracer can kill you, like, how does that work?
Bullets,
not
Lauber,
fair.
of course.
Things change way too fast, don't they, Lauber?
Yeah. The music nowadays, oh my, don't get me started.
Oh my god. Yeah, devil's music, really.
Yeah, for sure.
But yo, how come you guys are you said you picked Johanna to protect your team, but you didn't even have a team yet. You picked her first. How does that make sense? You're breaking everything we know about drafts.
I just know that like my teammates will run it down, so I gotta save them.
You
Also,
know
like,
they're gonna need it.
also, I've been having like strict practice with them, and I've been shouting at them. Like when I'm playing Johanna, you guys just got a group. You got a group. So you saw that on the core when we got a bunch of resets on Tomb. I told them like, oh yeah, you go together, and I go away, so I don't get entombed, and then I just press R on them. And that's something we practice a lot, because some people just like they see danger, so they want to run away when really they should stay still. So we practice that a lot, and it showed today. So it was good.
Because you got instant falling sword reset. Like, we're not talking 6 seconds, 8 seconds,
Yeah.
0 seconds. Have you calculated how many targets you need, or are you just like saying the more grouping, the better?
I mean, the more grouping, the better, because you get more value, of course. But if you hit all of your shots on 2 heroes and an enemy, you get reset. If it,
Nice.
or maybe it's 2 heroes, 2 enemies, and 1 hero. It's one of those, and the other one you only get 4 seconds off, I think. So I mean, as long as you hit 4 people, you always get insta reset. And then I think
That was a really cool.
if it's 2 allies and 1 hero, I don't think it goes on full hero or full reset. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I just press my button.
That was a very
They
cool
stack,
game.
yeah.
You guys had this special Ariel draft, and we actually jumped into your comms once, multiple times in the series, and overall it sounded really good. Energy, the way we know you guys. But on Tomb of the Spider Queen, it was like we were at a funeral. But you guys were just waiting to flip the switch. It was level 16. You were like, yeah, we got 150 gems, copium. We'll eventually end up paying. And you actually did. You got that one fight. Isn't it hard to play those games? Because you had no way to initiate. No Valkyrie for the Cassia. You don't have Blessed Shield. Doesn't it feel like a waiting game for like 18 levels and you're just hoping for them to misstep? Isn't that hard?
I mean, I love team fighting, so for me, not being able to start a team fight ever because they have like Lucio and Tuster and you're just ratting around, it's really annoying. But we knew that we were like super strong at 20, and we just had to get to 20. So, and you can turtle in Tomb if the enemy team has bad push, which they kinda had because we had so like good clear and such. So I mean, we knew that we just had to stay back and soak, and I was dying inside because I was so bored. But, you know.
I saw at least
luckily,
one angry falling sword by you where you were just bored.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. Maybe that's the best strat against us. Just make me bored, and then I just do an int engage. Yeah.
Well, there you go. You heard it first. All the CCL teams, just make sure you play super passive into Storm, and then you'll force Lauber to engage on top of you. And it might work out for you, it might not. But it worked out today for you, Lauber. You and your team took a victory up against 30K. Congratulations. Before I let you run out of here, are there any shots that you'd like to give? The floor is all yours.
Yeah, shout out to my teammates. They're pretty good, pretty funny. Shout out to Twitch Chat and CCL for organizing, and shout out to my girlfriend who is right behind here. Yeah, there she goes. For housing me here in Canada, I appreciate it a lot. And so yeah, that's it.
Well, GG's, Lauber. Good luck in your practice, your scrims, because we will see you next weekend up against Diamond Hands. It's going to be a fun matchup on Saturday, but good luck in your scrims, good luck in your practice, and enjoy your time in Canada, my friend.
Thank you.
Lauber, of course, always joining us for a fun little interview, Grubby and Justing, and it's Lauber. It's always going to be a fun interview from him, and I guess that is one thing to learn from him is if he gets bored, I guess he's just going to start falling sword on your head. But we had a lot of games this weekend, Grubby, and we can finally see the updated standings after 4 amazing best of 5s this weekend. We have a new standings, and Grubby, how are things looking?
We have a new King of the Hill. Simplicity now has separated themselves from the rest of the pack with their victory today with a 3-0. 30k and Wildheart sacrificed their flawless record with 2 losses. And this came, of course, at the behest of Storm Esports that has managed to get that victory there, as well as, was it Oxygen? Anyway,
Oxygen did get a victory as well against Diamond Hands,
and Oxygen. So 3-0, 1, 0-3, 1, and the rest all in the middle. It's a perfectly nicely distributed record with Simplicity so far looking like the favorite.
Yeah, Diamond Hands up against Storm Esports next week, and I'm just looking at the schedule for the next weekend on my other monitor, and it's like that matchup, Diamond Hands versus Storm, will be really, really cool. And we can break down some of those other matches later because actually we got it already. Thank you, production. You got it right in front of our faces. Next Saturday, November 20th, at our normal start time, CCL start time, you all know it at home. Simplicity will go up against Granite Gaming, and then Diamond Hands up against Storm Esports. I have it open here as well. On Sunday, you'll see Chili Mountain versus Oxygen, and then to close out the weekend, it's 30k versus Wildheart. We got a lot of great matches next weekend, but on that Saturday, I'm curious, Justin, which match between those two are you most excited for, the Simplicity or the Diamond Hands one?
I'm definitely most excited for the Diamond Hands matchup. The winner of that is going to move up in the standings and send the other one down into the dungeons of the 7th, 8th area there. So it's nice to see teams that are even in the standings playing against each other. It's always really important for both of those teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of nice things here on HeroesCCL for us to watch, and I believe, Justin, you got a very, very nice little segment to break down one of the best plays of today from HeroesCCL.
Yep, I present to you my super duper mega deluxe clip of the day, powered by Wisdom. So we can go ahead and roll that clip. Although 30k did not win the game, this is the consolation prize. Dino gets his own highlight reel. So this is just, watch Dino in this clip. Quasar gets the tongue, and he immediately Wave of Forces to interrupt it. And then, boom, 1 kill down. But Dino's not done yet. So he's chasing down Lauber. And watch his next Wave of Force. He blinks over the Hanzo arrow, and his next Wave of Force actually had already pushed in the Hanzo, which set up his next combo. And then he hits him with a fadeaway Q on the Malfurion. So it's a really quick clip, but just Dino dominance in that clip. The Li Ming that tried its best, but couldn't quite pull it out in this series today. That's the second best, is they get their own highlight reel.
I mean, Dino had some explosive plays, especially on that last Alterac pass map where Grubby and I were giggling for a little bit about the 100 overkill into Lucio with just that combo over the wall. Definitely a good play from 30k, and I don't count them out by any means. They're a strong team, and Dino's Li Ming, I'm excited to see what it looks like in the future of CCL, but I don't want to hog all of the final thoughts of the day because I believe we're kind of getting towards the end of that broadcast, so Justin, got to get your kind of takeaway from today's games.
I had thought that 30k and Wildheart were my favorites for first place. After today, that's kind of changed a bit. I think that Storm is looking really strong, even though they did go down in their first 2 series. It's really nice to see them coming back because they did get second place last season, and they have a team, each player on their roster is very strong individually. So it's good to see Storm start clawing back, and maybe Wildheart not as dominant as I had thought, and Simplicity is looking extremely strong, especially with how easily it seemed like they took down Wildheart today.
Yeah, same question to you, Grubby. What's your takeaway from today's games?
Yeah, I think after today, I think Simplicity is looking like the number 1. Storm, they actually had some misfortune. Lauber didn't play once. Then they had the def loss. So we had CPX subbing in week 1. They're 1-2, but they're the best damn 1-2 the CCL has ever seen in the match score. And then, 30k is always starting strong, then dropping off a bit. But Dino is bringing so much fantastic play, rotations, and individual skill to 30k that I'd be super surprised we didn't see them in top 4 by the end.
We got a lot of future weeks ahead of us for Heroes CCL. We are going to be back next Saturday and Sunday, November 20th and 21st at our normal start time of 11 a.m. PST, 2 o'clock EST, and 20 CET. And if you're in a different time zone, you got to do a little Googling. But I did most of the math for all of you at home. Thank you, everyone, for watching Heroes CCL. We also want to quickly thank our sponsor, Next Level Gaming, for joining us for Season 3 of CCL. If you'd like to go down and join the watch parties in the Esports Center, you can do so, or you can travel down there as well if you're out of the state area. But still, !NXT in chat to get you all the information over there. Thank you, everyone, once again for supporting Heroes CCL, hanging out in chat, lurking, gifting subs, bits, all that good stuff. We really, really do appreciate all your support, and we look forward to all the games every single weekend. From Grubby, Justing, and I, and the Wisdom crew, we thank you for watching this amazing broadcast. We'll see you next weekend for more games. Until then, I've been Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing. Have a good night, and we'll see you in the Nexus.